Hello, guys. Welcome back to Ursiiday's Pokemon Pocket Weekly number 21. We're going to be getting into our top 64 here, and I am so excited to get to introduce you guys to my co-host today, Bombo from Pokemon Zone. I'm sure you all already know the website and you use it every single day. Bombo is an awesome and cherished member of our community. He runs the website, he hosts the website. Whenever you guys see those early cards or anything like that, he has so much great knowledge on the website and works with a lot of fantastic people that really help this scene both on content and for people who are trying to get ready for that competitive edge, so that they know their cards before they're even out, or even just with those new players who are trying to find the cards. Honestly, if there's anything you want on the website, it's there, I promise you. And I'm sure they have a lot of fantastic features that they're going to be having very shortly. But Bombo, thank you so much for being here with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I don't know where to start, but basically, yes, I'm the creator of Pokemon Zone. So now we are a team of me, which is more on the content and community side, and 3 developers that are pushing the nicest stuff on the website. So we still have a good article. We have an author team, multiple writers writing about the meta. We do weekly metagame reports, etc., etc. And we're gonna have soon more nicer features. Hopefully next week if the new set doesn't take all the spots. But yes.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited. Yeah, no, I know next week, the moment they can, they're going to have every card on there, and I'm going to be scrolling. And I'm like, what does this card do? What does that card do? And I'm so excited to get to see them potentially before they even come on the website, on the game. So excited to have you here. And we're going to have so much fun chatting about these games today. There's some really interesting decks, in my opinion. For this week, I mean, there's an Dialga that went undefeated with Druddigon instead of Crobat. It was one of my first decks that I actually thought of as well. Mine's the Druddigon. I was a big Crobat Darkrai believer. And then what are some of the other ones I'm trying to think of? What are some of the interesting ones that you have your eye on for today, Bombo?
So yes, the first seed after Swiss playing Arceus and Darkrai without playing Crobat is certainly interesting, like a return to form from Druddigon. Multiple executors have been doing rather well with Carnivine and Arceus. Some interesting choices around. I think I like that how diverse the meta is, and I think this is the first. And I mean, for so long, like we have an established top tiers in Dialga Arceus. There's, I think, 24 in the top cut. But there's a lot of room for many other strats, Weavile, fighting strats, etc., etc. So very interesting metagame, and I'm excited to see what kind of feature match we will have today.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We'll have to check them out really shortly here. But just like you're saying, still a lot of Dialga, still a lot of those different fighting decks. I thought the Executor was really interesting to see. It had like a 70% win rate on round 1. Very quickly dropped to like 58, and I think it was 53 at the end of the tournament. But we have, I think, multiple of them in the top 8s like you're talking about. So really interesting. I'm interested to see how that works in the long run of this matchup. I think Executor being strong always makes me smile a little bit too much, because it's like, no, we don't have to worry about power creep that much. Like, he's a set 1 card that was absolutely terrible, and now he was like the reigning champ of all of last format. And he's kind of reappearing here in this last week of Triumphant Light as well. Absolutely insane, but I love to see card designs like that.
It never really left the meta, and it's probably besides the supporters, it's probably the card from Genetic Apex that has the longest longevity of the game at the moment. I also see Greninja in the top 64.
That is true.
Played with Arceus.
Another Genetic Apex card.
Yes, exactly. So we've got a good legacy from Genetic Apex, and even Mythical Island. I see multiple Gyarados decks, some with Origin from Palkia, some with Articuno EX. So yeah, I'm glad that we are still able to form meta decks with old cards, and hopefully the new set doesn't put too much pressure on free-to-play players, and they can still enjoy the game and play it competitively in your tournaments.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, I think it's interesting. We have about four. It looks like about you were mentioning this to me. I didn't even put this together. We have about 4 packs in both sets. About 4 packs across 3 months each. Really interesting to see. We'll have to see how it affects the format. I have a feeling that just from how Genetic Apex worked, collecting it'll be okay. We'll have to see how competitive works. But I might even test around with that myself. So we'll have to see in the long run. I'm checking the judges. How are we looking? But yeah, there's gonna be some really interesting ones. We're still getting those T8. One of my funniest things about the game from Genetic Apex is that Articuno T18. Also another remembrance from Genetic Apex. People played it on what I call the ladder. But obviously it's not ladder, it's random games. People are playing it all the time. People were complaining at that point about it. And now, I mean, it's actually showing up in our top 64. We had a Pachirisu win one of the last tournaments of, oh my god, Space Time Showdown? Smackdown? That one Smackdown, yeah, always confused me a little bit with the name, but
it's same.
it's an interesting name, but yeah, it's really interesting to see those T18s still be strong as well. It does look like a lot of our players are getting into their games, or not into their games, but getting ready to stream their games. So we'll be able to get into that shortly. I'm gonna let people know that they can start their matches, and hopefully we will be able to find a fun one. So what game would you like to watch first?
I think like in every tournament, because I've played some card games, like it's been more than 10 years now, and I think I like to feature for the first round of the Top Cut the first seed of the Swiss, because there is always a curse of sorts where the first seed in Swiss lose the first round of the Top Cut, which is very unfortunate because they don't earn any prize, despite their awesome performance in Swiss. So I would be inclined to pick the first seed, and not only for this reason, but also because they play a deck that's only represented once in the Top Cut. It's an Arceus deck with Darkrai and without Crobat, with Draudigon instead, as we mentioned. And they're playing, ironically, against another Arceus Draudigon deck, which uses fire and water energies with Greninja and Heatran. So it might not be the most exciting matchups because it might just devolve to a Draudigon stare down until one of them retreats and push for damage. But at the same time, these are two unique archetypes in the top 64. So I would be interesting to see how it goes for them. What would you pick?
That sounds perfect to me. That sounds absolutely perfect to me. Let's go hop into channel 22 and we'll watch the Darkrai's position.
Sure.
Okay, I got them deafened and I'm just bringing up their game so everyone can watch it. Let's see here.
Okay, game one. So Bionic Lefan is playing the Darkrai Arceus deck, while Tilly plays the Arceus Greninja deck.
Perfect.
And we're watching the game from the point of view of the Arceus Darkrai deck. So the first seed of the tournament, undefeated, by the way. I think it is the only undefeated players.
Yeah, I think he ended up being. I think it might have been. Was there some more ties as well, potentially as well? But yeah, basically one of the only undefeated players. We are going to go on and get that up here for people to watch. We have that Drudicon start that Bionicles definitely wanted. So I think perfect for them. And then obviously, do you think they would want to start Pokemon? I'm not sure it matters really against the Drudicon, but I'm never really sure for the Greninja decks what they should start with.
Kind of a tough call. They don't risk anything as long as Draudigon is in the active spot, and the Darkrai Arceus deck is slow to bring an attacker up front, so there's no risk, at least for a while, that Froakie gets knocked out. It could be scarier later on when Cyrus comes alive, but in the meantime, it's not a bad setup for Tilly TCG. And Darkrai first turn with
Ooh.
hiding behind the Druddigon, so pretty much the perfect setup for that kind of deck.
Yeah, really, really interesting. I mean, that Darkrai little ping onto that Froakie definitely puts us on a bit of a timer here. Two more turns, if they don't get Frogadier, that could be a really early knockout for Bionicles.
Hopefully, there is a way to retreat into perhaps a Druddigon of their own.
I mean, yeah, Tilly is running Druddigon as well. We could see some type of retreat back to that. I'm surprised to see Heatran in their list, but it'd be really, really interesting.
Um, yeah, I'm not too sure about how I feel because it requires two specific energy, and this is the only Pokemon of the deck that requires two colored energy in a deck that's otherwise only like it's all about colorless or just one water energy for Greninja or one fire and one water energy for Druddigon. Uh, I'm not too sure, but apparently it worked well for them. I would be curious to see how it goes. Like on that setup, it wouldn't be very useful because there was seemingly only water energies coming up. But
Ooh.
and what an aggressive play!
Honestly, yeah, running that Mars so early, so aggressive, I would feel a bit worried to do that because they've at least shown here, right? They don't have Frogadier, but we're giving them three potentially completely new cards. I definitely do not like running Mars that aggressively, but it's worked well for Bionicles thus far, and one Frogadier already arrives.
This is also an interesting choice because they add the option to play Professor's Research to potentially draw into a leaf and next turn retreat to attack with Darkrai in addition uh, to knocking out Froakie with Nightmare Aura. So um, a very interesting choice. There's at least one Professor's Research that's been used by TCG, so
Mm-hmm.
they might have wanted to cancel the card advantage by playing Mars, but to the detriment of pushing the gameplay. I'm curious to see how it's gonna go.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. I mean, Froakie, if they decided to evolve the Frogadier on the bench, this Froakie could get knocked out next turn. Um, but sometimes I feel like drawing can just be more important overall. So we'll have to see. They do draw into their Pokemon, but I'm not really sure that they care that much at this point. Um, we could see a knockout, just an attachment onto that Darkrai this turn. We can't leaf now that we've researched, so there's no way to retreat and attack again. But 80 health from Darkrai's, in my opinion, not the biggest when you're going into an Arceus with a butt of 108, 160.
And until he decided to evolve the Froakie in the back row, which is they kind of relinquished on the active Froakie. That's they give they give away a point basically, but at the same time, um, what's his name already? I'm sorry. Yeah, Bionic. Bionic decided not to knock out the Froakie by attaching an energy to Darkrai, instead preparing for Arceus. Why do you think they picked that option?
Yeah, I'm really curious right now too. That's a great point. This Froakie basically could have been knocked out this turn. I wonder if they're not ready for Arceus to knock out Druddigon. So that's the only thing I can think of, right? Is he brings up Arceus, he swings into the Druddigon, KOs it, goes to 140 health, and then Darkrai does what? He swings for 80, I guess.
Yeah,
But
exactly. And Arceus is a better attacker, so they would rather prepare it over Darkrai and just uh, force the uh, force the aggro. Like Tilly is now trapped because they have to equip to retreat into Arceus, which is our best card on the field at the moment and the most charged. But they cannot sacrifice just an energy attached to retreat. Um, it's very interesting, especially if Tilly draws a Frogadier to promote Froakie, at which point Bionic might regret not to just keep this Froakie alive.
Yeah, I'm like so curious what Tilly's going to decide too. You obviously can't, you kind of need to retreat because then one Arceus knockout is kind of game over. But at the same time, like, it's not, I mean, so it looks like we actually do waste an energy. I don't say waste, but sacrifice an energy to bring that Drudagon up as well. Bionicle, unlike Tilly, can't ping from the bench, or can't ping to the bench, should I say. Bionicles can only ping with 20 by attaching to Darkrai, so it decides where the energy is going to go. But Tilly with a Greninja can just use the ability if he can get his Pokemon up to that stage 2.
And as I was afraid, this is a Draudigon face-off matchup, kind of.
Yeah.
But it's getting complex in lines. The mass play puts actually have put Bionic way ahead of all,
Ooh.
or perhaps not. Oh, and then okay, and basically the Bionic's Arceus is at the mercy of Tilly's Arceus, and if there's a leaf to retreat into Draudigon, it could go downhill very quickly because uh, like Bionic doesn't have a credible offense to oppose to Arceus.
Yeah, and even more so, if Bionic has to retreat back to an Arceus and swing into a Drudagon, that's just going to mean that this Drudagon puts 20 extra damage on Arceus. So no need for a Giovanni, even if a cape does appear on the Arceus. A lot of times we talk about like the Rocky Helmet sets up Arceus really nicely to KO basically any Pokemon, but Drudagon's ability is Rocky Helmet.
Yeah, basically. And this is an interesting tech in Bionic's deck, the one of Shaimin to that will do probably a lot of wonders in this matchup by canceling half of Greninja's damage, sort of. And with a giant cape, Arceus elves look, and also the support of blue, Arceus might be out of harm's way for a while, but now it's Darkrai that will be brought to the front line.
Hmm. Interesting choice. We do see the Rocky Helmet getting played around with here. Uh, Yeah, I think there's like a huge question, right? Like, do we knock out the Drudagon, put this Darkrai to 160? Do you put the helmet then on Darkrai to set up that Arceus to be in range of a Giovanni? But oh my god, we're going so close to time. Helmet is going to go on that
Oh,
Darkrai.
I haven't noticed. Oh, you're right. And I'm still concerned for Bionic because just a Cyrus is enough to knock down the Arceus.
Yeah, I think.
Because they didn't attach Giant Cape, because if they played Giant Cape and Blue, they could have survived the combination of Water, Shuriken, and Ultimate Force.
I think if they have Cyrus here, it's just game for Tilly. They're going to Water
Uh,
Shuriken.
I'm
I
not so sure about game, but this would be certainly a complicated position.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
oh,
Cyrus in a really fast
and there's the
concede.
Cyrus, and
Oh,
oh, well,
let me click it.
I mean, I'm confused. They still, I don't, was it that over after Arceus was taken down? Because Tilly hasn't taken a single prize, right?
Yeah, he hadn't taken a prize yet. We did close the stream so people can't see their passwords or anything. I think the main worry, right? We heard Bionicle talking about this, or if you checked out the chat, he was talking about it, is basically a 0 to 100 game. But I think like you knock out the Arceus, and then there's not even the helmet on the Arceus. So the other Arceus is 160 health. What is your Darkrai supposed to do to knock that out? And you have no second Arceus set up on the bench by Bionicle to follow up. Is I think his concern there.
I think it's unfortunate that Bionic was times was running out, because by equipping Giant Cape to Arceus EX and using blue, it could, I think, if my maths are correct, they could have avoided the knockout. But yeah, this is an interesting game to analyze. Unfortunately, we're already onto the next game, and a surprising starter from Bionic as well.
Yeah, they're gonna go ahead and start. It's a Heatran as well for Tilly, which is not the biggest concern as long as
Oh,
they get an Arceus down. I believe at least the ability on Heatran is that it's free retreat, right? Or am I wrong on that? Oh yeah, I was just thinking.
and I'm surprised as to why. Oh, it might be completely matchup dependent. So usually in that kind of deck, you start with Druddigon while you charge up the Arceus or Darkrai EX in the back row. But instead, Bionic decided to put Arceus in front, and I think it's because the matchup is not gonna win the matchup by just putting Druddigon in front, because Greninja is much more proactive and a lot better than Darkrai in that it doesn't just target the active Pokemon. So instead, uh, Bionic decided to start with the aggro in Arceus EX. It's slow to come off, but it it's better in a vacuum in the active spot. So a very matchup dependent decision, and a very interesting one as that.
Yeah, I think that's so cool to see as well, right? Some of these like choices based on what, and we're actually just deciding it looks like to power up and not do anything with the bench just yet. But yeah, I think looking at like what you're saying, like matchup dependent start, really, really cool to see some of these like decisions that these players are making that really show how they got here and how they continue to get here into that top 64 multiple times. We do looks like retreat back to Drotagon
Oh,
though.
yeah, yeah, and like the line is pretty obvious. Is that basically if you knock out my Druddigon, my Arceus CX just revenge knockout your Arceus CX,
Exactly.
and even then, like once Arceus CX is takes down the Druddigon, it cannot one shot the opposing Arceus EX. Oh wait, oh yeah, yeah, and this is why I decided to charge up the next attacker, the next best attacker in the deck, as another Arceus EX, instead of going for the aggro. And this game plan depends a lot of on Tilly not drawing Frogadier and Greninja, and so far it's paying dividends. But as soon as Frogadier is in play, it spells trouble for Bionic. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and they will probably wait for the third energy to be attached to also attach Giant Cape or research. Hmm.
Um, yeah, I feel like we really need like a helmet almost. Oh, but Frogadier is already here. This to me is when you play Mars, by the way. This is where you play Mars. You knew it took 3 turns for them to get Frogadier. You know they never drew Frogadier, so there's 2 less cards they could have drawn in that time period. So they have the highest chance of having a Greninja right now. You Mars, even if they don't have Greninja, you at least decrease the chance that they had it. Because card games are all about making the odds in your favor. Though I think that's a quote for some reason from Hunger Games.
This
Yeah.
is using mass is a gamble, but I think you're right. It makes the most sense in the situation. But yeah, I think this matchup is like when you're playing a Druddigon deck, you don't want to face a deck with Greninja. And right now, I don't. I think I would. Oh, yeah. I'm not so sure about this
Me
decision.
neither. Looks like we're double caping.
Hmm.
But even then, with double cape, if we have Greninja uh, and Giovanni, it's gonna be a game over regardless.
Does Tilly plays? Tilly doesn't play Giovanni, so there's that. Um,
Oh, he doesn't? Okay, that's good.
yeah, but
My bad, I guess
hmm.
I hadn't looked at the list close enough. I'm a dummy. Yep, no Giovanni, just like you're saying.
And Greninja is online, so it spells trouble for Bionic.
Yeah, that
And
is for
I
sure.
don't think that there was a way to avoid the situation. I think he had to be aggro while it was just a Froakie. But even then, RCRCX would have kind of revenge knocked it out. So um, I think it's a very unfortunate matchup for Bionic to face. And this is what I mentioned. This is the first seed curse. Bionic is undefeated with 9 wins and 1 draw going first after the Swiss, and is likely not going to make it to the top 32 because of an unfortunate matchup.
Very
And
unfortunate.
sometimes this is just how it goes. And I'm glad we at least could feature him and his awesome performance. So just sometimes you're facing your bad matchup, and there is nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's just kind of how card games go, right? Like you can't make a deck that beats everything, even like the best players. I know like some weekends they'll like you'll like go to an event at Pokemon and they'll be like, I just accepted an auto loss to this deck. I can't beat it. Hope I don't run into it. And honestly, that's an okay game plan, right? If you have a good enough spread across the metagame. Sadly, you make it a top 64, and sometimes the odds are not in your favor with what deck you're going against, though.
We can still see the awesome performance that Bionic has put up to come here with is like as I said, he's on all his matches, including 4 against Dahlia Arceus decks and almost all of them also made it to the top cut. So he's faced great players with great decks, and he came victorious. So um, it might be a deck that gains traction in the following week. Well, at least it would have been the case if a new set of cards wasn't out in on first day of the next week.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but I'm sure we're going to see this deck for a while in ranked, right? Uh, when you have cards that do well together, it takes a while until the new set really goes into the ranked as well. So we'll have to see. I'm sure we'll see it next week, no matter how the new set looks. It looks like we're just deciding still not to attack here on Bionicle. We're a little bit just of a face-off. Who will blink first? But I don't know if it's going to change the outcome here.
Yeah, with 2 Cyrus in Tilly's deck, I think they cannot escape the inevitable retreat Draudigon into Arceus EX. And to even add insult to injury, Tilly might even want to consider, they could even consider just attacking with Draudigon. And Bionic pretty much can't do anything about it without just getting knockout in retaliation. So very, very unfortunate for Bionic. And I'm also learning from my chat that Tilly is a YouTuber. So
Oh, cool.
I didn't know about them, but I mean, a pretty good performance to make it to the cut and get such a commanding position on your first match in the top 64. Obviously, it's not over yet, but this is probably what he dreamed of facing in the very
Yeah.
first round of the top cut.
He was like, please give me a Drudagon. There's not many in the format, but please give me a Drudagon. We have a new Pokemon down as well, this Darkrai. I mean, we're gonna poke, I guess, away at the Drudagon with these hand attaches, but the only problem I guess I could be seeing here is that Tilly didn't make a second Arceus, right? And so there's a worry if he brings up that Arceus immediately and swings, that it could get knocked out and he doesn't really have a follow up. That being said, we're still in a pretty commanding position. No damage on any of our bench mons. Use Sabrina and knock something out, it opens up a spot for him to make a new Arceus.
You're right. You're right. They rely a lot on their own Arceus EX, and with a combination of Darkrai plus Arceus attack plus Giovanni that we know that Bionic is playing one of, they could swing the situation in their favor because Greninja wouldn't be enough to take down an Arceus on his own. So
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It's not over until it's over, basically. And even though Tilly's position is quite good, and we're gonna see some action from Tilly. Finally, it's not just a tank face off.
Nope, it's a new
Wait,
tank. It's a new tank.
yeah, it's
I'm gonna be honest, I thought for a second they were gonna fight with Drudagon, and I was all for it. Because with their deck, with Tilly's deck, they're able to run that fire and water energy. Fire is coming next turn for Tilly, but to note, they saved the energy by using that leaf, so it's still a possibility.
Mhm, mhm. and each one can retreat at for free at any point as long as RCRCX is on the field. So,
Looks like we were trying to decide for a Mario.
oh,
Point
okay, okay. Finally, some action. So, but in return, and okay, because that wouldn't be enough of okay, and that might pay off actually.
Yeah.
They cannot one shot RCRCX with a cape, and they don't, as we established from Tilly's deck list, they don't play Giovanni to have the exact knockout with RCRCX attack plus Water Shuriken. So the next guess would be okay, draw the gun.
Oh my god! Wait, we're knocking out the.
That's dirty. That's very dirty.
That is very dirty.
To knock out a Pokemon with Drodigon.
Oh my god. I did not. I thought he was about to poke into the Arceus. But again, another reason why Tilly's here in the top 64. I mean, ouch. Ouch.
This is the kind of thing you put in a bingo, like Drodigon actually uses Dragon Claw, and somehow Tilly managed to do it. And now the situation looks desperate for Bionic, because every counterattack on Drodigon is likely to be met with a revenge knockout from Water Shuriken plus RCRCX. And Blue perhaps could put them out of the pain, but I don't even think it's enough, because they take 130 from Ultimate Force, 20 from Water Shuriken, and 20 from Drodigon. So yeah, Blue isn't even enough to protect from the one shot.
Nothing is enough right now. I mean, it looks like Bionicles, as somebody noted, the Biological Chronicles fan 27, as we all know, that's what Bionicles stands for, is going to be able to knock out this Druddigon, take a second point, but that's going to put, I mean, Darkrai to 120, and it's kind of game over.
Yeah, it seems like it. Like, of course, Mars to mess up with the end and just leave them with one card in hand is a funny gimmick, but it's not gonna be enough, because on the board I think we can see the line with which Tilly can just knock out the RCRCX.
Let's see. Okay.
Greninja, is it a flex or Opera? Oh yeah. To reach 130 with Ultimate Force, Tilly has to have a third bench Pokemon, but they found it. And Bionicle was capitalizing on the fact that Mars would leave them with no basic to bench, and therefore Ultimate Force wouldn't have knockout RCRCX. But unfortunately for them, Tilly has found their third bench Pokemon, and this is a knockout.
Yeah, and that's going to be a game over 2-0 for Tilly in the top 64. So Tilly TCG will be continuing on to our top 32. Let's see if we can find another game to watch really quickly. I'd love to try to get an Executor, which is something we were talking about briefly. So let's see if we can find one.
I'm going to find some headphones in the meantime, because it seems like these ones don't have any battery anymore. So BRB for a while.
Okie dokie. They're done. Nice. Arcdialga. This is Arcdialga. Here, I'll bring up the meta breakdown so people can see and we can get a look together here about what's still going on. We're in the bracket. The T18 that continued. There is a Gyarados Articuno that's still going. Let me quickly see here.
So did you find a convincing room?
So why don't we hop to, there's a Gyarados game that's still going, like a Gyarados Articuno that I've never seen before. And they're only in game 2, so I think we should be able to watch. Oh, they just got into game 3. Okay. So why don't we go watch 1 second here. Trying to figure out where they're at. Sorry, give me 1 second.
No problem.
Let's see here. Oh, they're in channel 30. So why don't we hop to that one?
Sure.
And they have a Gyarados Articuno versus Atomics is running Rampardos Lucario. I'm just loading right now, so give me a second here. Is it gonna load up? Let's see. If not, we have a Twitch chat we can watch. Is it loading for you or?
It's not loading for me either, so
Okay.
It's not only on your hand.
I'm gonna send you a Twitch link then. Give me a second.
Sure.
We can watch this. Casting. Interesting screen for it to be stuck on.
They might have problem casting both of them for some reason.
I guess like both could be having problems.
So the matchup is Gyarados Arceus with Manaphy against the classic Lucario Rampardos. So interesting pick because Manaphy has been experimented on a lot with Palkia, Origin Form Palkia, but rarely with Gyarados and Articuno. Oh, never mind, it's not Articuno EX.
Oh, this is the baby Articuno one. I forgot about this deck.
Yeah. It's the baby Articuno from Genetic Apex. So another Genetic Apex Goldie that would certainly please our good friend Raven. He likes baby Articuno. So
yeah, okay, we're gonna hop to channel 4. I have to hop to channel 4 real quick. Sorry. Perfect. Okay, this one is running. Looks like they're just getting into game. So we're just waiting for our opponent to do something. It looks like.
What? I wonder what turn is that. So both have an energy attached. I assume it's turn 4 and Atomics went first. Because they already have an evolved Lucario and okay.
Here we have it up on stream.
So Violet makes the most out of Manaphy thanks to Irida. They will have an extra turn of Oceanic Gift. Unfortunately, they can't maximize its effect because they only have one bench Pokemon in regular Articuno. But regular Articuno is capable of knocking out Riolu, but in retaliation, they can also get knocked out by Marshadow.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is the better choice because you want to be able to capitalize on that paralyze that Articuno has, and if you're knocking the Pokemon out, you're not getting to do that.
So Violet is kind of limited, and it might be bad in the long run by the fact they only drew into Articuno. So they paralyzed Lucario, but I don't think it would have mattered that much because I suppose that Atomics doesn't run any Leaf to retreat Lucario anyway, and they wouldn't have any countermeasures to Articuno yet. So, but at the same time, they have trouble to find a proper attacker. So
yeah, where is their Magikarp?
Well, both both are lacking in attackers. Violet is missing on Magikarps, while Atomic is missing on Rampardos. So it's a very dumbed down game. It's gonna be interesting to see how both players perform on low resources. But Violet, I'll be scared at Violet's stead because they can get revenge knockouts by Marshadow's revenge.
Yeah. That helmet is going to come down. I mean, what's it? It can't really do much. We can't retreat here. I'm definitely worried about the Marshadow revenge attack that, like you're talking. We're going to communicate back around Pardos for another Lucario? Oh, I guess there is Sudowoodo still in their list. Okay.
And I think it's the only basic left at this point, right? Yes, it is. They could only have drawn into... And I think I started to understand why Violet performed well with this deck. They came, I think, in the 26th position after Swiss. Like most water decks are plagued by the Sudowoodo attack that put them in a bad spot, but Articuno EX, I mean regular Articuno, just like Origin Form Palkia, isn't affected by the Sudowoodo's 50 damage attack.
They're going to retreat back to Riolu again. I think that's the correct play just because we're going to keep trying to force... Oh, and bring a Manaphy. Okay, and we're going to get our first point here for Atomics.
Yeah, and now in a single turn, the situation has come very favorable for Atomics because they finally have found a fossil, so perhaps in the next turn they could find the rest if they don't already have them in hand to evolve it. In the meantime, Violet is kind of stuck because they cannot knock out Riolu without getting knocked out in return by Marshadow.
Yeah, exactly. And Magikarp is still not to be seen. This is their game 3 for those who don't know. So pressure is on right now for this match.
And unfortunately, both had a rough start, but ultimately it was Atomics that gained the upper hand by just drawing slightly better.
Yeah, I would say better than slightly.
yeah. Now every piece of the puzzle is in place, and like beside the Rampardos and a second Lucario, nothing is missing. And
exactly.
Yeah, and we could even think like if they have Rampardos in hand, they could just evolve the Gyarados and retreat the Riolu and attack for the final knockout.
I think they have Magikarp now. They do.
Oh yeah, but
they need a second Pokemon.
It seems so late.
Yeah.
And Violet doesn't play any Misty to kind of cheat some energy in desperate situations. They only rely on Manaphy for energy acceleration. So somehow they found the Manaphy and they retreated Articuno into Manaphy. But is there going to be enough time for Violet to collect all the 4 energies that are necessary for Gyarados EX? Not an easy situation to be in. And now what could they be? I think you retreat into perhaps Marshadow because Marshadow gets the knockout. Or into Lucario that also get a knockout.
We're going to have that 60 damage to Lucario. We're going to get a second point for Atomics. Way too late, honestly, for basically anything.
And now... Okay, so I suppose the game plan is to just tank hits with Gyarados EX. It's a plan that makes sense because Irida can help, but we already know that one Irida was used, so there was only one way to heal. But will that be enough? I don't think so, because Gyarados... Oh yeah, right. And Gyarados with Lucario. Oh, okay. Well...
and that's just going to be game here.
They don't even need to deal with Gyarados EX big HP bulk. They just have to Sabrina the weakened Articuno.
Yeah, and good job for them. That's the last game we're gonna have with our top 64 as well. So we're gonna be going into top 32 here. I'm gonna quickly check one thing, just because. Fun fact of the day: we have had our first ever tie in our top 64. So, for those who don't know, in Pokemon, sometimes this happens, where both players knock out the last Pokemon, and it goes to what we call sudden death in the card game. So, because there was a tie in the last game, as in Game 3, which would make it a tie overall, we tried to implement something similar. So I don't know if this has happened yet to other people, where people had a tie in the top 64 or top cut, but we tried to do a fun little sudden death, which is never fun. I'm gonna say that it's never fun. That being said, I think our Executor did survive, and so we have one Executor Arceus going into our top 32.
Only one out of the many.
Yeah.
Out of the many.
Everyone else got knocked out. All the other Executors got knocked out. Like, not even just Executor Arceus. All of them except this one, I think, got knocked out.
Well, I think I see two of them in top 32 actually.
Maybe I missed it.
I've got Ogu-chan, who's set to face Tato, ex-Tato, which is playing Weevil Darkrai, which is an incredible matchup for Executor. So a very good draw for Ogu-chan. And we've also got Mana of Steel, who's going to play against Tatsui, a Dialga Arceus, so probably a more challenging pick, for sure.
Which one would you like to watch? Because I'd like to watch an Executor this round, I think.
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment.
Which one do you think?
I mean, Ogu-chan is facing a Weevil Darkrai, and I mean, this is also a rather it's a rather uncommon deck. I think it's among the high tiers by our latest tier list on Pokemon Zone. But the matchup is so oppressive in favor of Executor X. I think I would rather watch Mana of Steel against Tatsui, because Tatsui is playing Dialga Arceus, which is more challenging for Executor, and I want to see how Executor X is faring against the top tiers of the format, basically.
Let's do that then. We're gonna hop into channel 24, and Man of Steel is the one who had to do, I think might have been the first ever sudden death of Pokemon Pocket. So let's go hop into channel 24 here. Okay, there we go. Let's see. I'm gonna go and get the thing loaded up, and I'm really excited to watch this matchup.
Well, of course, Dialga Arceus is very represented, so it might not be the most exciting viewer experience, but at the same time, Executor X has done quite well this tournament, which it hasn't been doing lately, and seeing if it stands up to the only top tier of the current format is certainly going to be interesting. Like, is Carnivine the solution against Dialga, against even Arceus? Looking at the deck list from Mana of Steel, it's a rather standard list with 2 Executor, 2 Carnivine, 2 Arceus EX. The usual, 1 Sabrina, 1 Cyrus, 2 Giant K for survivability. And meanwhile, Tatsui is playing also a rather conventional list of Dialga Arceus with 1 Mew EX, which might not be super great in this matchup, because copying Tropical Swing is pretty much useless. It's only useful to copy Ultimate Force from Arceus EX, basically. They also run 1 Mars, which might lead to some funny situation. 1 Giovanni, and 1 Potion as well, 1 Giant Cape, a lot of one-off. And it's an interesting approach that can mess because you can just play around everything. So
Yeah, you
yeah,
really. It's
interesting deck building choice from Tatsui.
Yeah, I think that's a really great. I mean, really interesting choice. I like the Mars inclusions, especially like Archdalga takes a little bit more setup than some of these really aggro decks. Uh, I did like the two Giovanni list a couple weeks ago, but this kind of feels like a conglomerate of the two, where it's got the two Rocky helmets, but it still has this like, huge spread of supporters. They are getting into that game now. We're gonna let them set up their starting Pokemon, but yeah, we're good to go. Very shortly here. There's loading in.
I also noticed that Mana of Steel doesn't run any Pokemon communication, which was quite the norm in the last format. But back then, Executor only played like two Executor EX and one Celebi.
Yeah.
And now it's more, it's less reliable. So I'm not very surprised by this choice, but I thought it was noteworthy.
Yeah, super noteworthy. It's kind of crazy because I feel like a lot of times you think, oh, well, there's a lot of Pokemon I would want to run a communicator, but it seems to be the opposite thought pattern here. It's less reliable because there's more Pokemon, and instead I'd like to include some of these really strong supporters. That being said, Mina still is starting with that Execute. They're going first, so no energy they attach this turn, but as an Executor player, you're very happy regardless.
Exactly, because whether you start or you don't, we will always attack first with Executor EX. So it's also one of the rare decks that benefits from going first, which is rather rare in TCG Pocket. And look at that! On turn 3, they can swing for up to 80 damage with Tropical Swing.
Yeah, and that could be half of Dialga's health. We hit a heads, and it is going to be half of Dialga's health gone just like that. Tatsuya needs to find a basic this turn to use that effect of its attack, where it's going to apply 2 energies onto one Pokemon. This is not what I meant by a basic, though. Shaman is not our target. We really want an Arceus. This is not what I meant.
But at least it helps keeping Dialga alive. But they ED Arceus EX for when Metallic Turbo could become relevant, and just like that, they can avoid getting their Dialga EX knockout, and they are ready to attack with Arceus EX on the next turn.
Yeah, that Arceus. I mean, we're also still one of those few Pokemon that doesn't, always get immediately KO'd. That was with that 30 damage. If we don't have something like this cape, Arceus still could KO us next turn.
Yeah, completely. And Giant Cape is very relevant in this situation, especially since they already use Professor's Research, so they cannot use Erika. And from their list, the only other card that could raise Executor EX HP was Giant Cape. So pretty good pick, which leave them out of arm's way from Ultimate Force, even powered that with Giovanni. So pretty good turn as well from Mena.
Really nice turn for Mena. Part of me sitting here, I was like, oh man, even Execute can knock out this Alga now. But that's really the strength of Shaman, right? It doesn't matter if you get it to the health where it would be KO'd, because it's just going to be healed turn after turn after turn after turn. And it's so nice to have even just that 10 health addition every single turn. Back to Arceus though, and we're not in range of KO.
And especially with just 2 basic on the bench, so I don't think it's a maneuver to choose later what bench Pokemon you want. I just don't think Tatsui got a third Pokemon to bench. Of note is that on the previous turn, Mena hits another heads on Tropical Swing, which means that Dialga EX at pretty much any time can be Cyrus into getting knockout, even if Tropical Swing lands on Tails, and like it does currently.
Okay.
and now, Executor is definitely in the KO range, but can Tatsui avoid the revenge knockout from Mena's Arceus EX?
Yeah, it's gonna be a good question. Let's see. I mean,
Both of these decks run 6 basic Pokemon, and it might be slightly short to ensure that you have 3 basic Pokemon on the bench, and perhaps this is gonna cost Mena dearly because after this Ultimate Force, they only have 2 Pokemon on the field and just 1 on the bench, and they could knock out the opponent's Arceus EX, but only if they found 2 Pokemon to bench. With just 6 basic, it might be complicated.
yeah, and I think it's going to be. Like, what are we? That's a great point. There's only 6 basics in these decks, which make it a bit problematic for finding them sometimes.
And
To 2.
it's judging by how Mena's hesitating, he might not have the 3rd basic Pokemon EX that would have put him in the competition, and he's pretty much forced to pull out another Pokemon for lack of better plays, and just missing the 3rd basic to bench might be the turning point of the game.
Yeah, it really might be. We go Dialga with that Sabrina. I feel like this is so sad right now. Obviously, Tetsuya will be required to have a leaf or spend 2 turns hand attaching to this Dialga to retreat, but that's not what you want as Minasteel. We had a chance to knock out that big attacker, and we've kind of lost it. Like, that Shaman's brought it out of range of an immediate knockout, and next turn, there's just no chance.
Yeah, exactly, and this is what happens. Like, there's no way he didn't have Tatsui didn't have leaf on the previous turn. So,
Yeah.
And now he's retreating for his own Arceus EX. And
We hit the 1 basic we needed, but unless we have Giovanni, it's too late.
that just it's just how it goes. Sometimes you draw the cards a turn too late, and this is what makes the difference. And Menas is unfortunately conceding
Yeah.
for lack of finding a 3rd basic on time.
Absolutely tragic, but let's see here. They're going to get set up for their game 2. We'll clear that scoreboard so that everything is ready for them. And then we're going to be going into game 2 here. Tatsuya is up a game, and can Minasteel bring it back? I'm going to quickly check their matches. They have beaten 1, 2... So they've beaten 3 Arceus Dialgas and tied against 1. They know how to do it. We just got to do it for the next 2 games.
And now Mena is going second, so not the idea. Ironically, not the best position for an Executor EX deck. But he's starting this time with Carnivine, which is a strong attacker on its own, just as long as Arceus is on the battlefield to power up Vine Whip from 20 to 50.
Yeah, I almost think you would prefer starting like this because it gives you more options later. For sure, Execute feels a lot stronger. I'm gonna say that. For sure, Execute feels a lot stronger. We're Pokeballing. We just hit another Carnivine. I almost don't want to spoil it, but we don't have an Arceus in hand. And so this is just gonna be 20 damage. Not great.
And this is very sad because at least if you picked Execute with Pokeballs, there would be a chance if you have Executor EX in hand to develop your board with that. Like you just attack with Carnivines and next turn you retreat into Execute that you might be able to evolve into Executor EX. But in this situation, it doesn't even happen. And that's a very rough start for Mena. And certainly not the showing we wanted from this deck that performed rather well in Swiss. With 9 wins. Mm-hmm. 8 wins and one tie, but a win in top 64, obviously.
Yeah. They get their Shaman, they get an Arceus, though I think it's... Oh, I guess I hadn't realized we've already passed the turns, but we're gonna be able to power up this Arceus this turn here.
And it's funny because Tatsui went first, which is not ideal for Dialga EX because you want to attack on curve with Metallic Turbo, but since Mena didn't have the proper aggression on time, it doesn't even bother Tatsui, and now we're looking at an Arceus EX ready to attack and seemingly no Pokemon on the field to offer a proper competition to the big deity from the Generation 4. So very sad state of affair. Hopefully Mena finds something out of it, but I look at Tatsui's field and everything is in line. So I'm kind of getting desperate.
Yeah, and that Leaf is going to allow us to keep that energy on Dialga. This is, as you said, getting to be a very desperate game. Carnivine's going down. There's no other Arceus on the bench. There's no other Execute getting powered up. I think Mena still had a fantastic run. It seems like the cards are not in their favor this game, though, or last game.
Yeah, it all came down to not drawing the third basic on turn, and yeah, okay, well. Yeah, Mena suffered from what we call in TCG a brick, which is drawing a bad hand. They had 2 Executor EX in hand. They didn't draw any Execute. There was no Arceus EX in sight either. And I'm currently wondering how much things would have been different, even if in their run, if they chose to play a 7th basic Pokemon. Well, in hindsight, of course, it's just so easy to throw that, But they had a really good success in Swiss with this exact list. But perhaps 6 basic Pokemon. I remember, like back then when we played Pikachu EX, the sweet spot of Pokemon to fill your bench was 7 basic Pokemon. And like these Dialga Arceus decks, these Arceus decks as a whole, they often run 6 basic, and it feels a bit odd in regards to the history of Pikachu EX, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I am also thinking, though, that, like, most Arceus decks even do run 6. So I wonder what changes now, right, that it's okay to run 6 instead of 7 with Pikachu. So remember Pikachu, we'd run 7, 8. I remember one time we found one with, like, 9. I might be... maybe it's more consistency cards that make it semi-okay, but I don't really think there's that many different ones. And so maybe just in general, does Arceus Dialga need to have one more basic? Because right now we're running 1 Shaman, 1 Mew EX, the 2 Arceus, the 2 Dialga. That's all we have, and that's 6 cards. To be fair, in that case, we don't have 2 Evolution Mons as well that fill up our hands, so we have more supporters. But Pikachu didn't really have that many evolutions either, other than, I guess, like, I say that and then I realize Zebstrika, Voltorb, Raichu. Maybe there were more evolutions than I thought. That's a great question. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to find us another game. Tilly is down a game right now.
Okay.
But they're in the middle of their game 2. Hanamon, who's a 2-time winner, is in their game 2 right now. That is an Arc Dialga versus a Rampardos, though. But Hanamon's actually up the game, and she's the Arc Dialga. If we want to hop to... Oh, she just 2-0'd them, so we can't hop to that.
Oh, okay.
Masterclass, I'm sure.
Perhaps there is still time to catch up on the other Executor EX deck.
True. Maybe there is. Let me quickly check on that one as well. Yep, they actually just finished their game 2. They're 1-1 right now. So why don't we hop to room 63?
Sounds like a plan.
You're too smart, Bombo. I'm looking for Bombo, guys. He did not follow me. Bombo, where are you? He's talking, but I don't see him. Can a mod drag him down, but they can't hear me? Bombo, please come down here. Bombo, please come down here. I'm gonna start dragging him. Did you find me, Bombo?
Sorry.
It was so lonely without you.
I was looking at the results, but let's comment on them. So another case of Carnivine being sad without Arceus EX, but perhaps this Pokeball will be able to find it.
Fingers crossed. Wait, no, we're watching.
And this is all, and yeah, this is a very good situation now for Oguchan. They can knock out Sneasel before it becomes a Weavile, but instead they decided to put on more damage on one of the bench Pokemon. Actually, they can choose to either knock out Sneasel or inflict serious damage on Darkrai EX, basically putting them at the at the two-shot range without a possibility to counterattack.
Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's a great point.
So now, what could Tato hope for? Like I think the ideal turn would be to draw into Weavile to evolve the Sneasel, retreat with Leaf. And it's not now. That's not even possible because Weavile would deal 70 damage, which wouldn't knock out Carnivine.
Yeah, wouldn't knock it out just yet.
So that Sabrina was a very, very clutch play.
I wonder if they have Dawn in their list because they could attach to a Darkrai and then Dawn it up to a Weavile.
But they would have to retreat Darkrai first, and they need Leaf. And they cannot play two supporters on the same turn. So, the Sabrina has completely messed up with Tato's plan because either they forfeit on a Sneasel, on a full health Sneasel, or they just bring Darkrai EX to the front, which is a bad situation, like we can see. Fortunately, they found a potion. They play two potions, so a more defensive Weavile list. So they are out of harm's way from Carnivine. At least for this turn, it's not the expected two-shot.
Mm-hmm.
And they can even retaliate and knock out Carnivine, but then they have to deal with Arceus EX, and I don't see how they can.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't really know how they're going to deal with this. I mean, because they have that retreat we talked about last turn, but then Arceus is already at 2 energies. Luckily, both, I guess, are at 0 points. Stis from last week, who won against Arceus Dialga, they really had to put out some really early pressure, and I feel like with Carnivine, there's not really the same way to do that because Carnivine's already putting back that really early pressure as well. It gets it gets plus 20 as well. I'm 90% sure, unless I'm reflecting from the wrong game because Roaring Moon in the physical card game is weak to grass. So I could be wrong here, but Carnivine's just putting out so much early pressure. It seems like we're in a bad spot, and we retreat to a Darkrai, no energy.
Retreating to a Darkrai is a desperate play, and and now we've got every Pokemon, 2 Pokemon on the bench are at the range of any kind of Cyrus, and we know that Ogushan is playing 1 Cyrus in addition to Sabrina, but they would rather play Erika and just keep on putting a lot of pressure on Darkrai EX, threatening the 2-shot range.
Yeah, I think it's smart to wait to use Cyrus to say, oh, let me get my first point, and then use Cyrus to finish out instead of using Cyrus too early, and then they can run the rest of the game, right? The moment the Cyruses are gone.
And now at any point, they can just promote Arceus EX and one-shot everything that's on the field right now.
Yeah. We have the heal. We're up to 2 energies. There's no way to attack here, though. He's flashing the Cyrus, but I hope you don't use it this turn. I don't know.
I mean, you're in a comfortable spot in Ogushan's shoes. You don't have to. You just naturally putting pressure with just 1 energy, and Tato hasn't found a convincing way to get rid of just a simple Carnivine. And now they are deciding to get more aggro. And with just 2 Pokemon on the bench, it's enough to knock out Darkrai EX and take 2 points. So if they ever have Cyrus in hand, next turn they have almost a guaranteed knockout because I don't see how they can, like, how Tato can heal 110 HP from either Darkrai EX or Sneasel.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
oh, and finally Weavile EX is showing up, but it seems to be too little, too late.
Way too late. Agreed. Yeah, I think it was already demeaning to, have so much health lost to a Carnivine, but we find the Weavile, and I'm pretty sure next turn it's just going to be Cyrus in game.
Yeah, and this is the problem of these decks that rely on stage 1 Pokemon for their aggro, is that basically Tato is in a losing position just because they haven't drawn their Weavile EX on time. And Executor EX suffer from the exact same problem, but thanks to Carnivine, they can play an early threat if they don't draw into Executor EX on turn 3, turn 4. So the addition of Carnivine EX, or Carnivine, sorry, and Arceus EX has definitely been great for Executor instead of relying on getting your stage 1. And you just see basically it's a battle of consistency that Executor with Carnivine just wins by virtue of having a powerful basic in Carnivine.
Yeah, completely true. Just like that power consistency that you're saying, be a basic instead of a stage 1. And like that, Ogre-chan is going straight to the top 16, which is where that prizing begins. We're a 400 USD prize pool. Huge shout out to our sponsor XP Collect for providing that prize pool every single week. But because of the prize pool, we're able to extend prizing all the way down to top 16. So Ogu-chan is going straight into prizing, and they'll be fighting for more and more every round after this. That being said, Tilly is now knocked out. So our one who beat the seed number 1 has lost. I'm trying to see if we have another game to watch. Let's see.
And we cannot understate how important XP Collect sponsor is, and like they recently announced Team Rocket. Like if you're a TCG player or even just a collector, you should see what they are selling. They have a pre-release for the next upcoming TCG set, which is going to be centered around Team Rocket. So a very popular pick with Mewtwo EX, Giovanni's Mewtwo EX. If you want to scratch that TCG each, go to XP Collect, and it supports them, and it also supports the stream and the amazing work that Ursiiday is doing every week in organizing this tournament series.
Thank you, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm so happy that XP Collect. I think, yeah, maybe I'm being a little silly, but I feel like it's just, even like in general, having sponsors in a competitive scene is really, really important. And so showing that, the scene can support a sponsor is always great. That being said, it looks like we could hop into channel 52 for a game.
Sure. What is it?
It's gonna be it's just gonna be Arc Dialga versus Arc Dialga, but I like him honestly. But yeah.
Sure.
Oh, it just ended. Never mind.
Oh, we were too late, and well, to the surprise of nobody, Dialga EX with Arceus won.
Yeah, that's who else is still playing then? Wait, was this their game 2 that we no.
I see 2 tables that have not declared, that have not announced the score yet. It's Peachy 34 against Kazu, and like Dialga Arceus versus 4 Palkia, and Sword versus Nidaiden, which is Gyarados CX with Origin from Palkia against Dialga Arceus.
Why don't we try that one? It looks like it'll be channel 16.
Sure.
Excuse me. And they're just about to start game 3.
Watching the perspective of Sword, who's playing Dialga Arceus. The bona fide deck list, I think it's the exact same as the list we've seen previously.
Ooh.
One Mars, one Giovanni, one Rocky. Two Giant Cap and one Rocky helmet. So some people decide to play two Rocky helmet instead. Meanwhile, Nidaiden is playing an interesting deck in Gyarados with Origin Form Palkia and Manaphy. Unusual matchup and interesting one as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a really interesting one. I mean, like, if you actually get Gyarados going, then Gyarados can't be one shot by Arceus. Arceus gets immediately one shot by Gyarados. How does the discard happen? Things like that. It's going to be interesting to see. And then obviously, that Origin form Palkia swings upwards of 120 damage. It can do a lot to itself.
And well, the equality is a foreign concept because Sword starts with Mew EX, which is a terrible starter, of course, while Nidaiden opens up with Manaphy, which is pretty much what you want to open with in a deck, in every deck playing Manaphy. So fortunately for Sword, Nidaiden is going first, so they cannot have Manaphy's Orsenic Gift online on first turn, but they have to find a Dialga EX as soon as possible if they don't want to be left very behind.
Yeah, very true. We'll have to see as well. Just like you're saying, what Sword decides to do. They do have that energy advantage from going second, but what do you do? I think one really interesting interaction, though, if we decide to power up UEX, which it looks like we're not, is that they don't have to discard energy, I believe, to use Palkia's attack, but Palkia has to. Unless obviously the Mew EX is running water energy, but it's not. In this deck, it's not.
This is not a problem as Nidaiden doesn't play in Palkia EX at all. They
Oh, wait,
run
what?
Gyarados
I'm
EX
an
instead.
idiot.
And
Yeah, I'm thinking wrong deck. I'm thinking wrong deck. My bad on that. This is not Palkia EX Palkia Origin. This is Gyarados EX Palkia Origin. I'm a dumb.
no
But
problem.
uh,
And I realized probably because Mew EX is in the active, but Gyarados EX, unlike Palkia EX, cannot get revenge knockouts by Mew EX Genome hacking because Rampaging Whirlpool deals 140, which is not enough to take down Gyarados EX in one hit. While Palkia EX gets taken down in one hit by its own Dimensional Storm. So Mew EX is not at its best in this matchup, and this makes it opening with it even more painful, especially since Dialga EX seems to be nowhere in sight, and Nidaiden is going to get a lot of mileage out of Manaphy, equipping multiple energies every single turn.
yeah, at least if we had like the Dialga down, it'd be like max 3 turns that this Manaphy could be doing something. But it's kind of endless until we get like a leaf or 4 energies attached. But that's basically 8 energies to Manaphy. Well, 8 plus 3, so 11 energies to Manaphy. That's so bad. That's so
Exactly, like
bad.
the redeeming chance is that fortunately for Sword, their opponent didn't open with Magikarp, so it can be a long time till they get to a full power Gyarados, especially since they don't play Misty either. So currently, the situation is completely favorable to Nidaiden, but without Gyarados, it will be hard to fight back against Arceus EX.
Yeah, it's gonna be, and they've now filled up their bench. They kind of said, "I don't care. We're not gonna need Gyarados." I hope, but
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not entirely sure about bringing Manaphy, the second Manaphy, to the bench because it feels like a dead weight. It might be an insurance against Sabrina. It's probably used like this, but um, yeah, I mean, if they draw Magikarp right now, they can't bench it. So hopefully it doesn't come to bite them in the butt. But well, with already one fully charged Origin from Palkia, they can put up pretty big damage on Mew EX, especially with Lucky Coin Flip.
yeah, completely true. We'll have to see here. They have that 3rd energy. We did see a leaf get drawn this turn. Question is do you want to put an Arceus up where it could get attacked? But if you don't, then it's still endless energies, and so a lot of questions to ask here. Cape instead, though, on the Mew, I kind of think they might be keeping it active, or maybe they're setting up later for Gyarados? I'm not sure here.
Uh, I, I think I would be also lost in Sword's situation because if you bring RCRCX to the front line, um, you you just get Origin from Palkia comes after Manaphy is knocked out, and it starts to deal a lot of damage on RCRCX, which is not something you want because if you end up knocking out Origin from Palkia, you just get 1 point, and while they're cheap against Pokemon EX, that's worth 2 points. So unlucky coin flip from Nidaiden this time, but at the same time, we don't see any form of retaliation from Sword, so very commanding position from Nidaiden.
Yeah, very commanding. And with all one-pointers, Sword is going to have to take out roughly, all 3 of them minimum. So we have a Shaman to heal, but minus 2 potions. It's still going to be in range of a heads coin flip by this Palkia.
And Sword might be forced to retreat Mew EX into Arceus EX, but again, because of the lack of a third basic Pokemon to bench, Arceus EX cannot one-shot Origin from Palkia, and even worse than that, they're going to take recoil damage from a Rocky Helmet. So they are potentially at risk of getting knockout if Origin from Palkia's attack hits head. So fortunately, they found the Giant Cape, but they're still in a precarious position should Zone Smash hit heads in the next turn.
Yeah, very, very true. I mean, even here, like, with that, 20 damage onto that. Arceus now, Palkia heads here would be really painful, and I don't think there's a way now to get it out of range of that second Palkia's attack. Mew's not going to be really set up and ready, and even if it is, it'll have to do the coin flip as well. So, Nighthayden still really great spot here.
Yeah, and it's not like you can, and this is also the problem with this deck. It's not like you can send um, a small attacker just to confirm the 10 point of damage that you're missing to knock out Origin from Palkia. So you have to take another recoil from Rocky Helmet, and that could go just very wrong. So fortunately, Zone Smash it tails, so it's only 60 damage. But there is another Origin from Palkia in the back row, and it can just, if it hits head, Arceus EX is toast.
Yeah, any moment now. Sword's just here. Like, the moment you hit heads, I'm basically done. So, bad spot, for sure. No points on the board either, so it's not like if it just misses a turn, it'll be safe. This is precarious, to say the least.
Yes. Yes, and like I haven't calculated that how much Sword has thinned this deck, but I still see no Dialga EX, which is the card that pretty much ties the deck together, and this is not certainly helping his case.
Yeah, it's not helping at all. He does go to knock out that Palkia. It does put him to 70 health. I don't think, though, that they run any Giovanni. So it's not like they could just, like, Giovanni heads. Oh, they are running. Wait, no, I'm on swords.
They actually are running one Giovanni.
Oh, they are. So they could heads, they could tails and Giovanni here and be completely safe.
Yeah, and by drawing this cape, they also present. They also tell that basically, even if you finally draw your third bench Pokemon, you cannot knock me out except if you have Giovanni. So it turns out that Sword is running one Giovanni. So perhaps they could find the third bench. And oh, speaking of,
there's the Giovanni, and that's gonna be 2 points for Nidaiden. There's one that Sword has as well. So we put both of those here. But let's see.
So I also noticed that Nidaiden hasn't benched a Magikarp. So if somehow Sword gets rid of Origin Form Palkia, they're actually in a very good spot because there is no attacker to present after Origin Form Palkia is defeated. So basically, Sword is counting a lot on this coin flip. But the sad state of affair is that it doesn't seem like it will be able to avoid the knockout if Nidaiden themselves hit heads with Zone Smash, because Mew EX is at exactly 120 HP.
Yeah, I mean exactly 120 HP. Ugh, you're sitting here like don't hit. But Mew wants to hit as well. I feel like we'll have to see. Still no Magikarp from Nidaiden, and I feel like he would have tried to put it down last turn if he'd found it already.
Yeah.
We hit heads, so Cape really saves us here.
Yeah.
But now it's up to Nidaiden to hit heads too.
And now if Nidaiden doesn't find a Magikarp, and if he fails to hit heads to win the game, it could go. It would be a silly game because none of the Pokemon on the field will be able to attack, and it will come down to whoever just finds the attacker first. And in the case of Nidaiden, having to go to 4 energies to attack with Gyarados EX might actually be a pretty unfavorable position. So if there's a lot of content to be made if the coin hits tails.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes.
Let's see. Oh,
And
but
it
it's
is head,
heads.
so no content for us, just
No
a
content for us.
regular win. Very unfortunate draws from Sword, but this is just how it goes. This is also the problem of these decks relying on a very specific starter. And Nidaiden had his starter in Manaphy, while Sword didn't find a single Dialga over the course of the game.
Yeah, that is so sad. That being said, Nidaiden never found a single Magikarp either, it feels like. So both parts not great. That is going to be the end, though, of our top 32. And we're going to be going straight into our top 16.
So what are we looking at? Have you noticed any interesting matchups?
Let's see if we can find any. I'll bring it up on stream here so we can all check it out together. And I'll stream it to you. Give me 1 second here. Why doesn't it let me go lower than this?
I think I found one that I would like to watch.
Check something. Where are we? Here we are. Streaming it for you, and then I can bring it up here for stream. We'll try to find us a good one to watch. A lot of Arceus Dialga still. There's a number of Palkia in the running still. There's one Executor. There's a Weavile Darkrai, and only one. Wait, am I right on that? Only one Rampardos? Only one fighting deck at all?
Yeah, seems like it.
Huh.
Despite a Dialga heavy field against which fighting decks are supposed to perform well, ultimately I'm gonna check what they faced in top 64, but yeah, rough draw for Rampardos.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So which one would you like to watch? Because you said you saw one.
I think I like Sneak versus Roddy because Roddy is playing Weavile EX, which is the only Weavile EX deck left. And we haven't seen either of these players so far. Neither Sneak, which is seed 2 after Swiss, by the way, nor Roddy. So, yeah, 2 new players, one established top tier, but one high tier deck in Weavile EX. That's always interesting to see, in my opinion. So, I would opt for this one. I don't know what you think.
Perfect. I'm down for this. 1 second. We're gonna hop into channel 1. It looks like to get into this game then.
Sure.
So I'm gonna bring that up for us. Thanks for getting started here.
Okay, cool. So let's see the deck list.
We'll I'm gonna set everything up so it says job 16. Gonna be Sneak versus Roddy or Rody.
So both very standard lists. I noticed that Roddy is playing one down, so that could potentially be an aggressive start from turn 3 even. But besides, nothing too crazy. They both came out after like 8 wins. Oh, never mind. 9 wins from Sneak. He's a seed 2 after all. Against a lot of Dial Garcia's deck, by the way. And whoa, they won against 2 Galay decks in the top cut.
Oh wow.
So pretty good performance.
Yeah, that's fantastic by them. That's really hard in my opinion. So good for Sneak. They obviously know the matchup really well. But I don't think they've gone against any. This is their first Darkrai Weavile today, so this could still, have some problems for our players here. It seemed like a really cool matchup though last week.
Weavile EX was kind of rising in response to Galley DX, which itself was a response to Dialga Arceus.
Yeah.
But the Weavile Dialga matchup is slightly, if I recall correctly, is slightly in favor of Dialga EX. So I'm interested to see how it actually behaves.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm interested as well to see if Sneak can pull this off. It'll be, or if Roddy's just gonna take the game. I'm guessing Darkrai Weavile dodged all the Arc Executors. Let's check it out. His matchups. He lost to a Darkrai Executor, no Darkrai, an Executor Arceus, and beat an Executor Celebi. And also beat a Mewtwo Gardevoir that I did not know was still being played.
Yeah, that's a very nostalgic player, or perhaps somebody that haven't played the deck since Genetic Apex or Mythical Island.
Yeah, must be, honestly. That being said, we're getting into our game here. Our Sneak is going to be going second. So, I mean, Roddy's going first. They love that. I'm going to double check Roddy's list. They are running a Dawn as well, so we could potentially see that little combo play where you attach to Darkrai, Dawn it up to that Weavile. And with that, we have the game up on screen. Roddy is having that start with Sneasel, but do they have a Darkrai? And Sneak has the Dialga.
And that's kind of the ideal situation for the Dialga EX player. More mixed for the Weavile player. Because you just want to go second with Dialga EX to attack with Metallic Turbo on curve. But if somehow Roddy managed to assemble a Darkrai EX with a single down, it could be a very favorable situation for Roddy to just go first like he did.
Yeah.
So let's see if with just one down it's hard to achieve, even with 2. So let's see if he gets lucky to perform the 90 damage combo on turn 3. There's a Darkrai EX, so that's a good start.
Weavile Dawn.
Yeah, that would be ideal, and yeah, kind of already challenging for the Dialga. Oh,
Weavile.
we're not very far from it.
We're not far from it. Just one more card.
Oh, unfortunately.
Wait, did they research?
No down.
No.
So,
oh, no, just attached to Weavile. 30 is still a good start, though. And regardless, it would have still taken, I think... Wait, no. Would it have taken 2 more turns? No, I guess it wouldn't have. But we'll have to see how it ends up.
but there comes the Shaman, which kind of puts a dent in the plan of Darker Weavile. So let me count 90 damage. Oh, never mind, 90 damage per turn. Even if you remove, like if you heal 10 damage from it, it's still a two-shot on Arceus EX and Dialga EX, except if there is like a portion in the equation.
Yeah, exactly. Shaman's also like I guess a little painful there, but it doesn't do enough by itself to do anything. It's more like how much does it deal into that second hit or third hit, but
And there it goes. The Arceus charge, which can actually threaten a knockout on Weavile EX thanks to Metallic Turbo's damage. So, is there any healing item of sorts played by Roddy? I see two Giant Cape, one potion.
One potion, yeah, and two giant cape, but that's all.
Giant Cape won't be enough if Sneak finds a third bench Pokemon, which isn't a given, considering how the previous feature matches went. So now the Darkrai EX Weavile EX combo is in full motion. But nothing seems to be able to prevent Sneak from retreating into Arceus EX and one-shot Weavile EX, except the potion to bring Weavile EX to 130 HP. So, but no Giant Cape.
Around the Darkrai.
I wonder why Giant Cape wasn't equipped to Weavile EX, because it could have for sure prevented it from getting potentially one shot on the next turn by the charge up Arceus EX.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good
And
question.
this is what might happen just right now if there is a leaf and there is one.
Yeah, I completely agree. I kind of wonder, especially because we have that Sneasel as well that protects against the Sabrina. I'm not really sure why we decided to do this the way we did, but with that, Sneak is going to go in and take 2 points, and Roddy has to catch up, but their Darkrai is not even at 2 energies yet, so it won't be attacking this turn.
So Roddy is already back against the wall, and Darkrai X isn't even capable of attacking this turn. So, and Giant Cape doesn't change anything given the damage mapping of Arceus EX. So it seems like an opportunity was missed big time, and Roddy is looking for Weavile EX, which is, I think, guaranteed in this situation with Pocket Communication. But even then, you can't deal the maximum damage of 90 on Arceus EX this turn.
Yeah, and then it still potentially just gets knocked out. Weavile comes down. It's a very pretty Weavile, but
Yeah,
it feels like we are a little bit too far behind at this point, to say the least.
it seems like it. Yeah, and it kind of comes down to this Giant Cape. So Leaf to make way for Weavile EX, but Weavile EX will just attack for 30, and next turn it cannot even attack for damage big enough to knock out Arceus EX. So, yeah, and, yeah, okay. I think Roddy kind of gave up by just not even retreating after using Leaf and kind of losing to the clock.
Yeah, it does feel like that, Roddy. I mean, I can't tell if he leaped and then realized they didn't have time, so he decided to attach, but it doesn't feel like that's what the case was, at least. I mean, maybe he also just wants to swing for 100 next turn, but it's not going to be enough to knock out.
And now, like, yeah, I'm not quite sure what's possible for our friend Roddy.
Me neither.
Just attacking with your ultimate force is and yeah, and he even has the guts to bring Dialga EX to the front row to charge up the next Arceus CX, I suppose, or the one he just retreated. I'm a bit confused by this play.
I am also confused with this play. I can't tell if it's like borderline PM or what.
Yeah, well, at least Darkrai EX is at the range of getting one shot by full power ultimate force.
Yeah.
But Roddy, I think, is playing, yeah, one potion. I'm not sure if he used it. Yes, he used it already. Never mind. So, yeah, Sneak is sure that Darkrai EX is at 130 HP even the next turn. So, it's a no-place situation for Roddy, basically.
Yeah, no win here, no win. I mean, I guess now we could. I mean,
Oh! Oh, that's spicy. Okay, that's spicy. I didn't see it coming.
we're not
I'm
attacking
not.
for 100 next turn now, or 130 next turn now, that's for sure. Minus, I guess, a
Um,
leaf. Minus
but
a
yeah,
leaf.
he can just. Ah, never mind. He can't attack an energy into retreat. Oh, okay. Okay. That was super spicy, and I didn't see it coming. So unless there's a leaf, in which case you just have to leaf into Arceus CX and attack for the win. There is no obvious uh, thing to do, but uh, I think regardless, it doesn't really matter because you get revenge killed by the other Arceus CX. Arceus CX. Oof. Is it Arceus or
Yeah.
Arceus? I think it's
Ah!
Arceus, and I say Arceus.
I heard Arceus a lot, but then there's the Arc phone from Legends of Arceus.
Oh
So,
yeah,
the
well,
Arc phone because it's the
yeah, it's
Arceus
probably
phone.
Arceus.
But I don't know. I feel like they kind of had to change the pronunciation, not to have it say, you know, the British cuss word for butt phone. But,
uh, so Sneak decided to attach Rocky Helmet to Arceus CX on the front, and I think I like this play because um, technically the Weavile EX is on the bench is currently able to attack without getting one shot itself by ultimate force since it only deals 130. So by
Yeah.
using Rocky Helmet, you're making sure that if a Weavile EX attack into the Arceus, uh, they get one shot whatsoever. But instead, they decided to bring Dialga EX to the front to charge the LP Arceus. Um, I think regardless, Roddy is kind of cooked, but if they retreat Darkrai for Weavile, what happens? They
Let's
could use
see.
Dawn. I think we haven't seen Dawn yet.
Yeah, I'm not. We haven't seen the Dawn yet. So like, there's someone you could like retreat to Weavile, attach to Darkrai, Dawn up. I don't know how many cards are left in their deck. There's only one Dawn in the entire deck. Uh, they do bring Weavile up.
Oh, so yeah, so but did they just use Professor's
Oh, they
research?
might
I
have
think
just
they did.
researched as well. Yeah, so we just attach and
Yeah,
attack for
and yeah,
70.
that's 70, but that's 20 damage short.
Not good. Not
No.
good.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Giovanni to confirm the exact one shot on Weavile EX.
And
It
that's
just
gonna
goes
be
like that.
game.
Yeah.
We'll let them in separate game 2. Yeah, that was a little bit of an interesting match. Not sure why we did all the. I don't know, but it's okay. Uh, it was interesting nonetheless, and great to see the players get to play out some of these interesting matchups. Let's see.
I like. I mean, it's just too easy to comment on hindsight and without being in the shoes of the players because they're playing under pressure basically. But
Yeah, for sure.
this giant K play on Darkrai EX is probably what cost Roddy the game because if it was attached on Weavile EX, they would have avoided the KO and they would have an extra turn of scratching nails for full power basically, and that would have changed the dynamic of the game. Not that it would have been an easy win because Sneak's board was pretty good regardless, but that would have made for a more challenging game for sure. And Sneak is going second again. A very favorable coin toss for Dive Arceus.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see how that ends up going if they change their decision this time. For sure, 2020 hindsight is 2020, and they're already in the top 16. They're planning to change their pricing from like 5 USD to 20 USD, which is a big jump. Is that 20? Wait, maybe not. Anyway, I don't remember exactly what top 8 is, but so we'll have to see what they decide to do here. But
Pretty slow start from both players because Roddy starts with Darkrai EX, which is not ideal. You want to open with Sneasel. And worse than that, after a Pokeball, they haven't found a Sneasel. And at the same time, Sneak opens with Shaymin, which is not a really good opener either. But at least they found an Arceus EX, which they are already starting to charge. So, but Sneasel is on the field. So
yeah. Sneasel is on the field now on the bench here. They're gonna need to find a way to retreat back potentially, but Sneak is gonna be drawing further into their deck, looking for some of these different cards, hoping for probably not Arceus, but Dialga or different basics that they can put down and fill up their bench with later. They have a second Arceus.
And now it might be actually a bad position for Sneak because let's suppose that Roddy is able to evolve Sneasel into Weavile EX. If he also has a Leaf, he has the one shot on Shaymin thanks to it being already damaged.
Yeah.
And Arceus EX wouldn't be able to knock out Weavile EX in retaliation, but on the next turn, Roddy would be able to equip an energy to Darkrai EX for the 20 damage, then the Scratching Nails for 17. Oh, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the case. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, it seems like no Leaf just yet. Really sad. I would love to see Roddy retreat back here and get that 20 damage, but not 20 damage, the knockout and the point. But maybe not in his literal cards just yet.
Yeah, no Leaf, no Weavile. Difficult situation for the Weavile EX player.
Well, there's Weavile.
Oh,
Just no Leaf.
okay. So there was Weavile, but it was short of Leaf, and Leaf would have been content, but unfortunately for him, he hasn't found it.
Yeah, he hasn't found it just yet here. We finally have Dialga, so we would be swinging for 130 if we're able to retreat back. There's a Rocky helmet on the Shaman. Are we planning on leaving the Shaman in the active spot?
And that's a clever trick as well because that way Sneak makes sure that any attack on Shining is going to be punished by a knockout from Arceus EX, thanks to the 20 chip damage from Rocky Helmet.
Yeah, so we just like went on and passed with Shaman in the active. I guess to some extent they're like, oh.
Okay.
Huh.
So yeah, so it's of course a good play, especially if Sneak doesn't have a Leaf to easily retreat the Arceus EX. But at the same time, if they attack with Dark Prism, and if by any chance Sneak has a Leaf, they can still retreat into Arceus EX, the one that's charged, and one shot thanks to the chip damage from Rocky Helmet, plus ultimate force. So, but Giant Cape makes sure that it won't happen. So, okay.
Yeah, with Giant Cape, you can't Leaf and Giovanni same turn, so Darkrai's safe here.
Yeah. Okay. That's a spicy play.
And if they retreat back to the other Arceus, like let's say a Leaf, do 130 damage here. We can do 80 back.
And
or 100, and then Weavile knocks out the next turn, and then we follow up with Cyrus?
That's a tricky. Do you just let the Arceus EX with a Rocky helmet let go for 2 points? That seems like a big price to pay, and this is what Sneak decides to do actually.
Yeah, it looks like we're just gonna pass. We're gonna sacrifice this Arceus. Did we even use Shaman this turn? Random question.
I assume so, but
Oh, this is dangerous.
now that you mention it, so potion.
Second
Uh,
Darkrai. So I think we attached a Weavile here, in my opinion. Or not.
or not.
I don't know about
um,
this, in my opinion, because I feel like you attach to Weavile, and then you get to do the ping damage with the Darkrai next turn on the new Pokemon. Unless you're just saying, nah, man, I have Cyrus and I'm taking the Shaman, and they're going to forget to heal, which doesn't seem likely.
um, like in this situation, even with the Rocky helmet damages, Arceus EX shouldn't be able to knock out Darkrai EX in retaliation. So I think this play makes sense. You want to charge Darkrai EX, which is a better attacker. Like 80 is obviously more powerful than 70, but Giovanni EX is completely ruining
That
Ronnie's
game
plan.
plan, yeah.
So. Uh, and now none of these Pokemon are charged up enough, and you pretty much have to prey on Dark Energy onto Darkrai EX and then down to attack for 90 and make a big dent in Arceus EX. But without Dawn, it's funny because it comes down to Dawn a lot. Perhaps we're putting too much faith in a one-off, but uh, perhaps just one Dawn isn't enough. I mean, they went through all the Swiss rounds successfully with just one Dawn, but it's okay.
I
It's
think
here.
we didn't even need Dawn this turn if we just attached the Weavile the turn before. That's why I'm like slightly confused by it, right? Like, uh, there isn't, I think, oh, there's a second Giovanni, and that's gonna be.
Oh whoa. Okay. So two Giovanni really made an impression there. Okay. So we have seen mostly lists with one Giovanni, but in this meta game with Weavile EX, Darkrai EX, and of course Arceus EX, it's very important for Ultimate Force to reach the fateful threshold of 140 damage. And it's paying dividends. Uh, and Sneak wins with Dialga Arceus against Weavile EX, piloted by Roddy.
Yeah, I mean, great job by Sneak getting that 2-0. Let's see real quick. I want to see if there's another game to watch.
Perhaps it's time to watch the last remaining Rampados deck of the
Yeah,
competition.
I think that's going to be the case down here watching MST versus Cinna. So let me just check what channel they're in. Cinna is in channel 18, so we can hop to there.
Sure.
Let me just pop it up.
And this is a pretty loaded board with 2 points on each side. And an almost lethal attack on Mew EX. Okay, this is a complicated board set. Do you know what game it is?
No, it might be game one. It may not be game one.
Oh, whoa. Kind of crazy if it's game one, but okay, we're going into the game with a knockout on Marshadow to get the last point. So it seems like we've missed some action there. That was a very colorful board, and it seems like Rampados wasn't found, or rather the fossil wasn't found on time. That's the problem of Rampados. They evolve from a fossil, and this might be why GalaDX has been performing better lately, because you can still search for rats with Poke Communication or Pokeball, of course. And so okay, there's another game. So can you confirm it was game one?
I think it might have been game two. Cinna just marked game two win. But game one has not been marked, so I'm just gonna. Okay, thank you for filling it out.
Okay, so this is the final game against
This will be the
Sina
final game.
playing Dialga EX with Arceus against MST running Rampados Lucario, which is a good a good draw for MST, of course.
Mm.
But Sina is opening with a Dialga EX. Oh,
Ooh. It'd be
okay. But MST is open like he's going second, so he's going to have the initiative to attack. And what attack with Pseudo Wudo dealing 50 damage on Dialga EX.
Yeah, that's gonna be really nice next turn. Obviously, it'd be even nicer if we were swinging into the Arceus or an Arceus if we find one. But still, I mean, putting that clock on this Dialga for 3 turns when he still needs 2 more energies is basically lethal if he thinks he's gonna power up an Arceus.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And MST doesn't waste time with the Ryolu on the battlefield to for potentially an extra 20 damage if Lucario hits the board on curve.
Hmm. Elixir. Oh. So let's see. They do get, it looks like, a Riolu down. So we could be doing 70 next turn with that Lucario. Um, the attachment does go to Sudowoodo just like we expected.
For the juicy 50 damage.
Yeah, that'd be some really a nice. I mean, nice swing. It's gonna take 3 turns, but Dog is only at 1 energy. I don't even. The dog's not at even 1 energy. They'll attach 1 energy. Sudowoodo will swing to put him to 50 health. Dialga will attach a second energy to power up an Arceus, and that'll be a KO unless we're able to find a Shaman or a potion. So
Yeah, pretty strong clock. And like I mean, even if you find these, that's still a 4-turn clock, sort of. And in the meantime, you would trade 2 points while the opponent has barely had a dent, and all the Pokemon are worth 1 point. So it takes a lot of turn to actually keep up with that handicap.
yeah, 100%. Attacking this 2 pointer versus a 1 point deck, it's a big ouchie if MST will be able to set up, even if Rampardos doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So, yep, energy on the Dialga, but we're going to need a potion by next turn. And at least an Arceus to be powering up.
And no sign of a Shaymin or of any uh, bench or Pokemon on the bench for that matter. So is Dialga EX really getting knockout on turn 3? Plus, with Lucario on the field, that's like no potion or shaming will be enough, uh, except with multiple of them. So pretty strong start from MST, like showcasing how good Sudowoodo is against these big basic Pokemon EX. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. And I did not think Sudowoodo would be good when I saw Sudowoodo. I was like, no way, 50 damage isn't a lot. But the thing is, a lot of these attackers take so much energy to power up. The ramp is additional energy as well, right? Like, it takes 2 energies to start the ramp up on Dialga versus one like that Moltres. And so Sudowoodo actually ends up being pretty good this meta, especially when Arceus would be, 70 per turn, 90 per turn with that Lucario. And yeah, even a potion's, even a shaman's not going to save us now.
Yeah, like you would need like it needs to be at least 80 HP to survive Sudowoodo. And even that, like if MST has another Lucario, it needs to be at 90 HP. And okay, so this is a good draw, 2 potion. But if by any chance MST has a second Lucario, it will be all for North. And yeah, that's a pretty dire situation for Sina because you don't want to waste 2 points so early without taking at least one yourself.
Yeah. Like, Right now, the Sudowoodo swings for what, 70? That Riolu could be a Lucario next turn. Do you
Yeah.
retreat? Do you swing? And it looks like we're going to swing and say, please don't have the second Lucario. Please don't have the second Lucario. Please don't have the second Lucario. Uh,
Well, at least Sina can find comfort in that MST still hasn't assembled the force. Okay. So
oh, there's that
I'm
fossil.
talking, I'm talking too slowly because there is a fossil eating the field, and now the potential threat of Rampados to deal with the Arceus. Uh, very rough situation for
Ooh,
Sina, but at least a second Lucario hasn't been found, meaning there is an extra turn for Dialga EX to either use Metallic Turbo or to retreat to not trade a point and bring Arceus EX to finally get rid of the Sudowoodo.
100%. I mean, we're going to have a heal, but I think we're going to retreat here regardless. Probably knock out the Sudowoodo. Lucario comes up, swings for what, 60, what, 80? Maybe 100, and that's just enough time to get a Rampardos online, potentially.
Uh, yes, it might be, and then
Oh, we're just attacking again
okay,
here.
okay, so
I don't.
um, Sina makes the bet to that they can retreat damage Arceus to for the other one and avoid uh, being left without steam, but uh, without a giant cape, they all fell to, like, even with a giant cape, because of Lucario, they all fell to Rampados, and we've seen Cranidos in the field, so we're not very far off from Rampados itself. So,
100 point.
and yeah, there's already 2 points in MST's pool.
Yeah, this seems. I would not want to be Sinner right now. We can knock out the Sudowoodo, obviously, but like the only thing you can hope for is they don't hit Cranidos, Rampardos, or Lucario for that third point, because it's not like you're gonna take out the Sudowoodo and only have to take out one more Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like maybe I'm Mars and maybe you do. It looks like we
Oh, okay,
do.
and that could yes, that could potentially be a big twist here
Yeah.
because there's less chance to get Rampados. So Arceus EX will only be met with Lucario next turn, which isn't enough to knock it out. So um, yeah, that might be that's a gamble, but that's certainly an interesting one.
Yeah, I think sometimes you have to take the gamble, right? Like moments like this. I almost wonder if we
Yeah.
like strategically let the Dialga get knocked out then as well, right? To decrease the chances that they had these evolutions, the Cyrus that they might need. MST is only running one Cyrus. But we do find a Marshadow, which honestly is just as devastating against a.
Oh, yeah, because with Riolu powered up with Lucario, by the way, and Machado, this is a confirmed knockout on Arceus EX just if it knocks out Riolu. So this is why you prepare the second Arceus EX. Actually, you can now retreat into the undamaged Arceus EX. But even then, you would need to have Giant Cape
Mm-hmm.
because with Marshado's strength against fighting the Arceus EX fighting weakness plus Lucario's, that's exactly 140 damage. So
Yeah.
um, preparing the second Arceus EX was a good strategy, but only as long as you can draw Giant Cape to avoid the knockout from Marshadow. And if he has, if Sina has Giant Cape, this could be the turning point of the game if Rampados isn't found on time.
Let's see if they have it. Uh,
Seemingly not. We can see a leaf to retreat into what? I see that Mew EX play and
Muliax.
Mew EX to act as like a physical sponge of sort.
I
Hmm.
mean, I guess we're saying MST is not going to have Lucario and Cyrus this turn, but they could have Cyrus. They could draw into Lucario here. They could also, I think they hit Cranidos last turn, so we can hit Rampardos this turn. So just one Cyrus is all we need. Honestly, Rampardos knocks out anything, so I don't even know why I'm saying you need the Cyrus. You just need Rampardos.
Yeah. Uh, I'm sorry, I might take a bio break. Oh, and there's a Cyrus, and this is as you
Yeah.
mentioned. You can just retreat into Luke. Oh, no, Lucario. Is Lucario enough?
No, we need a Lucario as well, but it looks like we're gonna go to
Oh, yeah, but
Rampardos.
50 plus 20 from the weakness, plus 20 from Lucario. This is an exact knockout, and this is
Oof.
and the only fighting deck left is actually progressing thanks to is the weakness strength. Uh, the weakness, a difference in this matchup.
Yep, for sure. And just like that, we'll be going to our top 8 next. Uh, Let me get that going. If you need to take a break, we'll just quickly get
Yes,
into that
I'm going
top
to take
8.
a minute break just for bio needs.
Sounds like a plan. Um, Let me bring up the meta breakdown for everyone to see. We can check out what's going on over here, but I believe we should have our full top 8 now, and we will just as soon as they mark the win here. Yep, and they should be filled out now. A lot of Arc Dialga, but I mean, similarly, we have one Gyarados Palkia still in top 8, and one Rampardos Lucario in top 8 as well. I think I'm gonna hop back up to that Gyarados list since we just watched Rampardos. I'll let them know that they can get started here. 1 second. Okay. Let me find us our game. And then we're gonna have pop to channel 52, I guess, to watch the game. I'm gonna DM him to let him know I'm in 52. Okay. We get to watch Mana. I absolutely love watching Mana's POV. So really excited about that. I didn't let him know we were gonna hop to the channel 52. And let me quickly bring that up, guys. We're going into our top 8 here. Really excited to watch this Gyarados Origin Form Palkia list again. Let's see.
So what did you pick?
We're doing a there's one Gyarados Origin Form Palkia, and there's one Rampardos in our top 8. So I was going to do the Gyarados again. Hopefully this time they can actually find the Gyarados.
Yeah, yeah. But that didn't prevent them from winning against the same matchup actually in the previous like the last time we've seen them against Sword. So Origin Form Palkia seems to be going all the way.
Yeah, it does. I'd be really interested to see it end up winning the tournament as well. That'd be a new one. So really cool.
Yeah, and I'm not that surprised, but in the top 8 there is like 6 Dalga Arceus.
Yeah.
So pretty commanding showing from what has been the best deck of the metagame, and probably the only top tier. At least this is what how it was evaluated by the raters on Pokemon Zone. And
Yeah.
they were right. Dalga Arceus is just very consistent. Features one of the best attacker in the game in Arceus EX. So no surprise.
Yeah, I'm not super surprised. That being said, Mana's actually going to be starting with Mew EX in the active spot instead of their Dialga, who is getting powered up. And they did find a Magikarp on Nidhaven's side. Problem being, we're going to need more than a Magikarp this next turn if we want to survive, because this Magikarp needs to get out of the active spot or it can get KO'd by this Dialga swinging for 30.
And this is this is kind of terrible because you want to open with Manaphy, which wasn't the case. And unless they play an X speed, I think they already played Professor's Research. So there's only an X speed to retreat Magikarp into Manaphy and get the energy acceleration going. But it won't be the case in this situation. Magikarp at best can leap out to bring perhaps Origin from Palkia to the front. But that's not gonna be enough. What happened on the next turn? So complicated situation for Nidaiden.
Yeah, super complicated. I think we're gonna leap back. Looks like to this Palkia, but I getting some early damage on this Palkia. I mean, early damage on the Palkia either doesn't feel great.
Well, at least there's the cheat damage from Rocky Helmet, but you basically relinquish on your Origin from Palkia just to prepare from to evolve Magikarp into Gyarados. Fortunately, I don't see on Mana's list any Sabrinas that could bring Magikarp to the active spot. So not a bad decision from Nidaiden, probably the best they had on their end, but it's not even a dire situation, especially since there is no Arceus EX on Mana's battlefield to power up with Dialga. So even if Dialga EX can attack with heavy impact 400, it's not as much as Arceus EX Ultimate Force. And Gyarados EX comes on the battlefield. There is no way that Origin from Palkia gets knockout on this turn. So when Origin from Palkia eventually gets knockout, Nidaiden can bring the full power Gyarados EX.
Yeah, he's gonna need to, and we have those two energies on the Magikarp now. We have a couple of turns, right, before we can even knock out this Palkia. It is going to be putting a lot of Mana's Pokemon in range, though, of that Gyarados attack.
I'm not entirely sure about this decision to play Potion, because I assume the only thing you would risk at being below 130 HP would be for Misty to come and get 3 heads, and then Zone Smash also hits heads, so it deals exactly 120. So that would be a pretty lucky scenario. But Nidaiden doesn't even run Misty, so I'm not even sure why you would run Potion without Giant Cape, because on the next turn, Gyarados EX is still gonna attack and knock you out with Rampaging Whirlpool.
Yeah, it's still gonna do way too much damage, I feel like. That being said, it looks like we're gonna go on and swing for 100 here. I'm a little surprised we decided to power up this Dialga on the bench more than we did the Mew. But
I think I think this is a bad spot for Mana right now, because Gyarados EX is basically going to sweep Dialga EX.
yeah.
And just Nidaiden just like Mana can bring Dialga EX to the front and attack with heavy impact. But then it won't knock out Gyarados EX, and if Nidaiden has Irida, which is likely given the size of the hand, they can heal this damage and they won't get knockouts by 2 heavy impact in a row. Well, I've talked too soon, because this Rocky Helmet makes sure it can actually happen.
Yeah. If they decide to knock into this Gyarados at all, he's in range and it's just gonna be game over.
Oh yeah,
Guess with Cape?
Irida won't be enough to save Gyarados. So okay, that Rocky Helmet came out very clutch from Mana. And
Oh yeah, that's it.
wow, okay.
Yeah, now Ursiiday does nothing because it's only bring up to 90. Really nice play by Mana, actually, because in my head before this Cape was...
But I think Nidaiden plays one Giovanni. Oh yeah, and here it is. Okay. Oh wow, that was exactly the card that Nidaiden needed to win this one. Okay, that was super clutch.
Yeah, really
Whoa.
nice. I didn't expect the Giovanni at all. But good GG's there, and we'll be going into game 2 here. I mean, Nidaiden really showing just how strong this Gyarados list can be.
Yeah, like a baseline hit for 140, like it squashes all the menace that we've mentioned earlier, like Arceus EX, Weavile EX, Darkrai EX, and so many 140 HP EX Pokemon.
It really,
Uh,
really does.
and, and if you add Giovanni and Rocky Helmet to the equation, you now reaching the Pokemon with slightly more HP, like Palkia EX, Dialga EX. Um, and yeah, that Giovanni was pretty clutch. Before before Origin from Palkia, Gyarados usually played with a Druddigon and Greninja to make sure that Rampaging Whirlpool was enough to knock out a Pokemon thanks to Water Shuriken. But this aggressive approach with Manaphy is paying more dividends in the current meta.
For sure. And we're having a little bit better start on Mana's side this game, starting actually with that Dialga instead of the Mew EX, so we don't have to expend any Leafs. Nidhaden starting with Origin Form Palkia again. I'd feel more secure not starting that Magikarp, but I don't know if it's the one we want to start either, since we probably want to begin with Manaphy.
Yeah, that's on the first game, Nidaiden started with Magikarp, and now Origin from Palkia. Basically, all the basic besides the ones that matter the most in the form of Manaphy. And no leaf into Manaphy play, just a single Magikarp. Well, just naturally attaching energy on Magikarp goes very far, as we've seen last game. Last game there wasn't any Manaphy. It was no Misty because there was no Misty in the deck. It was just natural energy attach into Gyarados EX, and just Gyarados EX is enough of a house to carry the game, to carry Nidaiden through the win in game 1. So perhaps it will be the case as well in game 2.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, looks like we're gonna have, okay, we have another Dialga.
And I can't help but notice the flare, the battle flare on Dialga EX on a gold card, which means Mana has opened several gold Dialga EX, which is a pretty big whale statement.
I think I only have 2 Crown Rares my entire set, and they're both Mew EXs. I was kind of frustrated.
Oh, okay.
I
Oh
want
well.
better ones. I want better ones. You don't even need 2
I
Mew
haven't
EXs.
I haven't got a single Chrome Rare card so far.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Well, maybe
I
you'll get one
will I will
soon.
file a complaint to Nintendo.
I support it. I support it. I still haven't gotten a God Pack yet. So.
Oh, neither have I.
Okay, good, because I feel like everyone else I talked to has already had like 3, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm still here waiting.
I think Spraggles still hasn't had a gold pack, a god pack. I mean.
Okay, good. So,
So
I
yeah,
actually
you're not too far behind.
good,
But
good.
back into the game, another case of Origin Form Palkia being used as a sandbag of sorts. This time, the absence of Rocky Helmet might be hard, because with Rocky Helmet, you would put Dialga EX to the range of Rampaging Whirlpool, but without Rocky Helmet on Origin Form Palkia, it suddenly becomes more difficult. So
Yeah.
hopefully Biden draws into a Rocky Helmet or perhaps a Giovanni, but instead, finally, it exists, the Manaphy.
Yeah, Manaphy is finally up, but Gyarados is too, which is I mean, this is all they need to have a fully powered up Gyarados for sure.
And that way they deny the knockout on Origin Form Palkia, at least for now. Well, that was short-lived.
For sure.
That was short-lived, and now again, Dialga EX is at full health, and except if Nidaiden finds another Giovanni, as we've seen in the previous game, this is gonna be complicated. to take down a board with 3 deities and pretty much all of them full powered.
Yeah, completely agreed. It doesn't seem like it's going to be as easy this game as it was last game, to say the least. So, let's see
Well,
here.
last game was, it was honestly, it was spreading on thin ice as well. It all
Yeah.
came down to the Giovanni in the end. But this time, like the best case scenario is that you have a Giovanni to one-shot the Dalga EX. And then even if Mana brings a Dalga EX, you could hope to kind of one-shot it by equipping a Rocky Helmet to Gyarados EX. But even then, you can just retreat. You can, if you get Giant Cape, you're out of harm's way. So complicated situation for Nidaiden, unfortunately, this game.
Yeah, definitely complicated situation. Giovanni takes 1 point, but we kind of have to knock out 2 of them, right? We need like a Giovanni this turn and then a Sabrina next turn. Maybe not even. It's too bad though. I guess they didn't have any like helmets this game to really help with this like point spread.
Yeah.
But energy pops up for
Yeah, and this is the worst situation because this doesn't knock out Dialga EX. So I think whatever you look at the game, it's I don't think there is a way out of it from Nidaiden, at least in the winning spot.
Okay, yeah, second Arceus now too.
And all this gold with flare is kind of making my eyes,
It's a little too bright. Yeah, it's a little too bright.
Yeah.
But definitely a statement by Mana. Definitely a statement by Mana. Yeah, I think at this point, even with the Cyrus, 0 points for Nidaiden, we're going to a game 3, in my opinion. We're going to a game 3.
And even more unfortunate is that Nidaiden, with Rampaging Whirlpool, discards their own energy, while discarding energy all around the opponent's board could have actually made an impact. Even though at this point of the game it seems too late. But yeah, it's pretty much an easy win from Mana after a good start from them. And yeah, an unfortunate start, I think, from Nidaiden. No Rocky Helmet, no Giovanni.
Yeah, we'll have to see game 3, but really interesting, and one of those ones where in this matchup it almost feels like, do you need 2 Giovannis in this list? That's like something I was feeling off of this matchup for sure.
Kinda.
Let's see here. They're about to load back up again into game 3.
So the last 10 of water decks, Nidaiden with Gyarados, CX, Manaphy, and Origin Form Palkia, will he be able to stand against the top tier of the meta in Dialga Arceus. And Mana opens rather poorly with a Shaymin, and no Manaphy still from Nidaiden. So again, not the best start, but at least a Magikarp was found.
Yeah, both sides seem to have a bad start, but that research looked really nice on Mana's side. Meanwhile, Nidaiden starting with that Magikarp, they could flop, I think it's called, back to the bench if we can find another basic. We have a research come down. They're looking for it. They definitely didn't want to start with a Magikarp. Let's see. Pokeball, so they'll have something.
Hopefully a Manaphy. Even though you can just use Leaf because you've already used Professor's Research. Sorry.
Let's see.
So yeah, perhaps Leap Out to bring Manaphy, because Manaphy cannot be one shot on the next turn, and even probably not on the turn after, because there is no quick attacker on Dialga EX side. And this is also why there's a revival of water decks. It's because Dialga EX fails to properly put up damage big enough to knock out Manaphy as soon as it's on the field. So you can just benefit from 2 turns, perhaps even more, of Manaphy's Arsenic Gift, which is a huge lead by equipping energies on Gyarados EX or Origin Form Palkia, and all that without even being threatened by any Pokemon on the opposing field.
Yeah, that's gonna be
So
really nice.
yeah, and it starts like did I then decided to not even play a card, just going straight for the Arsenic Gift.
Mm-hmm. Straight into it, and just like that, I mean, Mana's gonna want to find a leaf here probably so he can retreat and start powering up an Arceus so he can put out some really strong pressure and hope to not allow that Gyarados to get set up and early damage onto their Mons. Uh, they need the pressure, they need the leaf, but we just have to pass already. Oh no. Yeah, we just already
Yeah,
had to pass.
Leaf hasn't been found, and that means that yet another turn of Oceanic Gift, and now Magikarp is fully charged. Origin Form Palkia is just one shot, and on the next turn, Nidaiden can just bring Origin Form Palkia to the front and starts to rack up damage, even a knockout against Shaman.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it just looks like a retreat back here, as you can see, and the it's gonna be 30 damage on the Manaphy, who's gonna be retreated next turn, and I guess an Arceus will be fully powered up. I find it funny they finally find a leaf, but very sad to see. Very sad to see. Everyone's already set up.
Yeah, and you can even you can't even knock out the Manaphy for the easy point because like 50 damage is not super hard to overcome, but for Dialga EX it kind of is in the early game. So yeah, okay. Now Origin like Manaphy is retreated back to safety to deny the point.
Mm-hmm.
And Origin from Palkia is brought to the front and perhaps is gonna do some wonders with Zone Smash.
Even if he doesn't hit heads or anything like that here, which I mean he doesn't, but he's got helmet on him, which means that this Dialga, if he attacks, or even if the Arceus attacks, Cape won't protect them in the long run. And it really is helpful in putting them in the threshold that Gyarados needs to one-shot.
So if there is an extra bench Pokemon on Mana's side, they can decide to retreat Dialga EX for Arceus EX and one-shot the Origin from Palkia. And as long as there is no Gyarados CX on Nidaiden's side of the field, there is no risk in just doing that. So perhaps Mana capitalizes on the potential absence of Gyarados CX in Nidaiden's end and go for the very aggressive play of retreating for Arceus EX, knocking out Origin from Palkia if they have a third bench Pokemon, and hope that Nidaiden doesn't have the Gyarados EX.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna have to. It looks like we're filling up the bench, though. It doesn't look like we're going with Arceus. We didn't
Yeah.
even plan to swing for 100. Uh oh.
And I think this is coming from a logical sentiment in that like Nidaiden could play Gyarados EX even if they have it in hand because Mana doesn't play Mars, so there is no rush for Nidaiden to play Gyarados because as long as it remains in their hand, it's unaffected by any card from Mana's deck list.
Yeah, very, very
And,
true.
and this is most likely what happened. Now Gyarados EX is on the battlefield, so will Nidaiden decide to bring it to the front to secure the knockout on Dialga EX?
It looks like it. And helmet onto Gyarados. Just to stop anyone's cape from doing anything.
Basically.
Let's see here. Yeah, that's going to knock out and get us our first 2 points of game 3.
And the discarded energy, I think, was from the knocked out Dialga EX, so not a big impact on the field. Would have been interesting if it affected Dialga EX or even Arceus EX. So yeah, the giant cape, as you mentioned, but Rocky Helmet just makes giant cape pretty much null and void. So Nidaiden just has to have a Giovanni in their hand to confirm the knockout on Dialga EX. So.
Let's see if they have it.
And
Giovanni.
they do. And they do.
That's going to be game. And Gyarados is going to
Yeah.
top 4 now.
Yeah, it's going all the way. I remember, like, on the latest tier list we've done on Pokemon Zone, with, I think, Arca from Froggy EX, from the Froggy EX team that you know well, mentioned that Gyarados EX would probably be the best deck of the meta because it has an overwhelmingly good matchup against Dialga Arceus, and we can kind of confirm it on stream. Besides game 2, but which was a rather imbalanced game in terms of opening hand, all the other games were rather convincing on the Gyarados side of the field.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. He has a really nice health, like 180, and that swinging for 140 just knocks out so many different Pokemon in the meta right now. I think like one of the huge problems is though, right, is there's still a lot of bench snipe out there, and they're out there to stop Arceus. So if all of the anti-meta stuff kind of counters you anyway, Gallade for 4 energies does, I don't know how much damage, but it's 170 health, so just one ping on it's not going to do enough. But as you can see, now that the fighting's out of the way, it's having a great time with all this Arceus.
Exactly.
We, I think, next have to watch an Arc Mirror.
Sure.
It looks like... What channel are we in? We're in channel 52. Why don't we hop to 32 and try to watch one of the point of views? They just started a couple minutes ago on their game 3.
Sure. So, no point taken yet, but rather loaded field with a full charge Arceus EX against a Darga EX, which just turboed a benched Arceus EX.
Ooh.
And now the pressure to kill or not to kill, that's the question basically. Because, or rather knocking out, sorry. Because if somehow, let me check the deck list. So it's Eric Lopez versus Sonny Royce. Sonny Royce, they play one Giovanni, and they could revenge knockout Arceus EX with their own. And it seems like Eric Lopez doesn't have another attacker ready to deal with an Arceus EX themselves.
Yeah, seems like a precarious spot. Sonny Royce has that second Arceus here. He is powered up. All he needs is another basic, and he'll be able, with a Giovanni, obviously, he'll be able to KO.
Yeah, Giovanni has kind of a game changer, and you can only imagine how the meta is going to be once Red, which is basically a double the Giovanni at the same turn against Pokemon EX, once Red is introduced to the metagame. This is going to be wild.
Yeah, I wonder how it's going to affect the meta to have Red doing that extra 20 damage, but only the EXs. Because I think a Pokemon like Magnezone still pretty prevalent in the meta, not an EX, out of range of getting KO'd by anything other than plus, I mean, obviously Gyarados, but other than plus that 10 damage from Giovanni. So what is it going to enable? What is it going to, how is it going to affect deck lists? I'm really interested to see over the next month what it does. But we have a little potion here. We can't really just immediately attack back into this Arceus. I mean, I guess we could if we had another Pokemon. But, oh wait, we can't. I was thinking the helmet was on the other Arceus for some reason.
It's on the good side of the field, so that's still a big swing of 110 damage. So, it seems like Eric just got, was the quickest and on, and there's a Giovanni, so there just needs to be another bench Pokemon, which doesn't happen, unfortunately, so there won't be the knockout. And then with new EX ready to attack with ultimate force.
You can just retreat here.
Yeah, and suddenly the nature of the game could swing in mana. Wait, no, it's not mana. It's Sunny Roy's favor.
Yeah, this could be still. I mean, this is still be a match for Sunny Roy's to take here. Have that retreat back to Mew EX, and we'd need to find 2 Pokemon on Eric's side to be able to come back, or to finish the game. I mean.
So there was I see that there is Cyrus in Eric Lopez deck, so perhaps that would turn the game by bringing the damaged Arceus EX on the bench. But as it stands, Mew EX is doing quite the work by threatening all the options from Eric Lopez. Especially with that few Pokemon on the bench.
Let's see. Yeah, Arceus comes up now. I mean, I guess we only need 1 actually to knock out this Mew. Research really nice here. And that's a Pokeball.
And yeah, we see a Pokeball, so that's enough to...
That's
yeah,
good
because
game.
thanks to the damage from a Rocky Helmet. So yeah, pretty good find. And yeah, Rocky Helmet doing work. That's an exact 110. I think you told me that was game 3, right?
Yeah, it's going to be game 3. So Eric Lopez is going to be going into our top 4.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to check to see the other games. All of our other top 4 or top 8s are done. So we do run the top 4s at different times so we can watch both of them. So we're going to hop on in directly to our top 4 between Eric Lopez and Nidaiden with that Gyarados. We're going to watch Eric Lopez's point of view again. Just, we're already here, so why not? And so I'm going to let them know they can get started here. Hi guys.
Unfortunately, a country kill, as both these players seems to be Spanish. But at least that guarantees 1 Spanish player in the final.
Okay, I just went on and let them know that they can get started when they're ready. But yeah, we're so happy that we get to have Bombo here with us from Pokemon Zone. They do so much work for the community, and so I'm really, really happy that Bombo could join us today. So thank you again, Bombo.
I mean, I'm glad to comment what your effort to make like this is a 2021st.
Yeah, we're on 21. It's kind of insane.
So yeah, and all with the support of XP Collect as well to make sure there is an interesting prize pool for just without the support, without official support, it's a very good effort on both you and XP Collect, and I'm glad to be here to partake in the achievement.
Well, thank you so much. And yeah, no, huge shout out to our sponsor, XP Collect. For those who don't know, they're a local card shop up in New Jersey. You can order any of your pre-order needs, including that, I assume, the Team Rocket set that's coming out very shortly through them, or whatever card game you enjoy. If you play Lorcana, if you play Yu-Gi-Oh, you can order all of your stuff through them. Make sure to check them out. And there's even like some fun like monthly boxes they send out at times as well. So yeah. Let me quickly find this.
So we went from 6 Dialga Arceus deck in top 8 to 2 in the top 4. So team kills, of course, but also MST with Lucario Rampardos and Nidaiden with Gyarados holding their grounds against the top tier of the metagame.
Yeah, this is going to be so cool to see. I don't know that I had it in my bingo card, as you were saying earlier, that Gyarados would win today, but we'll have to see if they win this round. Gyarados would be in our finals.
It could be. It could be.
Maybe.
So Eric Lopez versus Nidaiden.
And then here they are loading in right now. We're gonna let them set up their first card, and then we'll get started. So. Okay, our Arceus Dialga player is gonna be going second. I think that they're probably happy with that, is my assumption here.
Yeah, you definitely want to go second. Although you don't want to open with Arceus EX, and you don't want to see your opponent starting with Manaphy, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, you're already like, oh man, I'm on the back foot. But Nidaiden still does have to find, obviously, their Manaphy's. Eric could still power up that Arceus here. We'll have to see where they go from here. But at least we're going second as Eric Lopez.
Yeah, both decks kind of want to go second just because they have an both of them have an energy accelerator in the form of an attack. So Manaphy's Oceanic Gift or Dialga EX Metallic Turbo. So Manaphy comes a turn earlier, which is a pretty big advantage in the matchup, and the reason why I think this matchup is slightly in favor of Gyarados EX.
Yeah, for sure. We get a second Arceus, it looks like. We're debating whether we put it down or not, but
that's unfortunate, of course, because you would want to see Dialga EX to get it online as soon as possible, especially if you or if you have a leaf in your hand to attach the energies and next turn retreat with leaf and already charging up the Arceus EX. Unfortunately, that won't be the case. But at the same time, we haven't seen a basic Pokemon yet from Nidaiden, so will they be able to put up some threats on their own?
Let's see. They have a ball. They have Origin Form Palkia from the Pokeball, so it looks like no Magikarp just yet, but that Origin Form Palkia can do a lot of work itself. Sadly, not even a second Pokemon to put down, though. So we can't fully capitalize on those two energies that that the Manaphy will be able to spread.
Yeah, and this is while starting with Arceus EX is of course isn't ideal. It can still put up already 110 damage with just the current bench Pokemon, which is enough to take down Manaphy, of course, but it's not that far either from knocking out Origin Form Palkia. So Nidaiden has a very big pressure to find Magikarp as soon as possible, else they won't be able to keep up with the regular Arceus attacks.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like here. We start actually powering up a Dialga on the bench now. I almost don't like that play because the same turn they would be able to retreat back to Dialga and power this Arceus would be the turn you'd be able to just attack with Arceus and actually knock something out. So not sure I'm for that play, but Eric Lopez is in the top 4, and I am not.
I'm also not convinced, but I'm not an expert on these decks. Because right now you're threatening like a one shot on Manaphy and also a one shot on Origin Form Palkia. But Eric decides to take the more conservative line of pumping all the Arceus EX with Dialga, which is brought back to the front thanks to Leaf. So it's kind of he's saying I don't care about your Manaphy, especially since it doesn't power up any Magikarp, and I would just power up my back row, and so they are ready to one shot your Origin Form Palkia Manaphy and two shot your Gyarados EX if you're even able to set it.
Yeah, I mean, they retreated back. There's potential we could do 60 or 120 damage here. Problem is, in my opinion, is we just retreat back to Arceus and knock out.
Yeah, this is a and with Rocky Helmet, even a Giant Cape won't save Origin Form Palkia from the retaliation attack. because of the Rocky helmet and the damage from Ultimate Force. And still no Magikarp to be found. I'm almost afraid it's too late for Nidaiden to make an impression in this game. There is already two big attackers facing him, and no solution to be seen.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like it's a little bit too late here. There's always game 2 and 3, and there were clean boards
Yeah.
for that. But that being said, I don't. We knock out Palkia, go to 1 point. Let's say they hit Magikarp. They put 1 energy on it with the Manaphy. We knock out the Manaphy. They go to 2 energy or 3 or whatever, and then we just knock out that. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It does not feel good. Looks like we're just gonna hard retreat here, discarding both of those energies on. Oh no, we had a leaf. I didn't. No, we didn't have a leaf.
No, just retreat, and he isn't afraid of retreating by discarding energies because the Magikarp player doesn't have room to play Sabrina to mess with the tempo of Dialga Arceus, and it's costly retreats costs among Dialga and Arceus EX. But he's not afraid of that because there's no opposing Sabrina, so he's just gonna bring the aggression to the front, and it's probably unlikely that Nidaiden finds a proper response in such a short notice.
Yeah, completely agreed here. Do you have Magikarp? This is your last turn to find it. And even then, powering up is not going to be easy here.
Yeah, especially since... Yeah, okay, Nidaiden concedes. Like, even a Magikarp wouldn't have been enough because you would just accelerate one with Manaphy, so you would need to attach for 2 other straight turns, and there is another Arceus EX waiting for you on the bench. So I don't think, even with Irida, I don't think there's a way out of it.
Completely agreed. Okay, so we're going into game 2 now. Game 1 went to our Arcdialga player. Game 2 has yet to be decided. I think for more than anything, it's just finding that Gyarados this game.
Yeah, I think Nidaiden has been kind of lucky in the game that we've seen because there was a Pokemon communication in their list, and I'm not quite sure if I've ever seen it played by Nidaiden. So no Pokemon communication, no luck on Pokeballs. That's a bit rough, but hopefully they can fight back in these 2 following games.
Yeah, fingers crossed here. Let's see. We're gonna let them get into this next game. Oh, okay. No understanding. Okay. So it looks like a not great start for Eric again. It looks like it's gonna be an Arceus once more here. But at least this time Nidhaden is having a similar not happy beginning with that Origin Form Palkia in the active spot.
Origin from Palkia is not that bad of a starter if you can equip a Rocky helmet to it.
That's true, yeah.
So, I mean, again, you wish you opened with Manaphy. But at least there's a Magikarp this time.
And there's a Manaphy.
as well. Again, unfortunate for Nidaiden to be on the play again. Pretty much a matchup where there was a big advantage to going second, and so far Eric holded on both the opportunities to do so.
Yeah, 100%. This time it looks like we're just going to go and attach into that Dialga. I do like it better when it's this turn 1. So I did point out that like it would be great earlier as I talked about last game about just attaching the 3 to Arceus for offensive pressure, but maybe having multiple attackers in this matchup specifically would be critical. And so I can totally see that as well. But getting it early is always the best in my opinion. Onto the Dialga.
So no chance in finding Leaf to retreat into a Manaphy to power up both Origin Form Palkia and Magikarp. But Magikarp has its first energy, and as we've seen in the last round, Nidaiden just needs one Gyarados on the field, not anything else, to just swipe the board with the help of Rocky Helmet and Giovanni. So let's not underestimate how strong a single Gyarados EX can be.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, assuming they can hit the Pokemon still. But let's see. We have a leaf this turn. I'm assuming back to Manaphy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
And now there's a big pressure in that there is no way, I assume, that uh, Eric can deal with Manaphy on the following turn. So it will be just enough energy to have both Origin for Palkia and Gyarados EX at their full power. And in the meantime, Eric will just have powered up an Arceus EX. I mean, it's not bad by any means, but this is a serious advantage from Nidaiden.
Yeah, completely agreed. Huge advantage here. We're gonna put 30 damage though into that Manaphy. I find it kind of interesting. We put the helmet on the Origin Form Palkia, but now we're not even having to attack into it. Obviously, Nidhaden does want to be swinging with this Mana Feast and get those energies on the bench, but I wonder if there's like some world where you held the helmet
Yeah.
to put it onto the Manaphy.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention on the sequencing on Nidaiden's last turn. I assume that he equipped the Rocky helmet before I assume Leaf was his top deck, and so because if he had Leaf in hand, most likely he would have just not equipped the Rocky helmet to Origin from Palkia.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact order either. We do get now that helmet onto Manaphy. It'll put our Dialga to 130 health, which is not great for what would be a fully powered up Gyarados. And no Mars in either deck means that Nidhaden can just be sitting on that Gyarados if he wants, or he can be bricking. We don't have the information that at least having a Mars would more likely force us to know.
And now this is a complicated situation because Gyarados EX definitely one-shots Dialga EX in retaliation. So I assume you want to prepare for the second Arceus EX, sorry, to be ready to attack. And that way, Gyarados EX knocks out Dialga EX. Arceus EX with Giant Cape comes to the front, attacks Gyarados EX. And well, that was a. It gets interesting now. It gets interesting. So, what does Nidaiden promotes? Origin from Palkia or Magikarp that could evolve?
Looks like he's not got it just yet, so he puts up that Origin Form Palkia.
I think it's more. I'm pretty convinced that Gyarados EX is in Nidaiden's hand. Palkia cannot be one shot by Dialga, and even better, if Zone Smash hits for 120, Dialga EX cannot attack without getting knocked out by Rocky Helmet.
Yeah, that's
So,
very true.
this reminds me of, in the TCG, we talk about prize mapping, in
Yeah.
which you have to carefully plan for the what you expose as a Pokemon to trade favorably your prize card. And this works the same in Pokemon TCG Pocket, where you decide to bring the one point first, and when you go down 2 points, you bring the Pokemon EX that's worth 2 points.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Sometimes you just put them up. And with that Giovanni and a coin flip heads, we went on and took 2 points as Nidhaden. Oh my god. I mean, I think Nidhaden was kind of in the lead regardless, assuming they have a Gyarados, but ouch. I don't know you come back from
Yeah,
here now.
this is the best possible outcome from Nidaiden. You get rid of Dialga EX in a single hit. And now Arceus EX, even with Giant Cape, will be hit by the recoil damage of Rocky Helmet, which brings it to the range of Rapenji Whirlpool. And so the only thing he can do now is praying for Nidaiden to not have a Gyarados EX. But with 7 cards remaining in the deck in his next turn, there's a chance, quite some chance that Gyarados EX just hits the battlefield and one-shot the Arceus EX.
Pokeball. Does he
Oh,
not have it?
oh, or perhaps he's. Oh,
Communicating? Okay, we
okay,
have to
okay.
have it. We have to have it. Do we have to
Um,
have it? I think we could still miss by like a 33% chance, depending what's in his hand.
yeah, technically, there are two basic Pokemon.
Gyarados is
Okay,
down.
okay,
Okay.
okay. You got it. You got it.
So I was thinking like he could have one of the other basics. There's like one Manaphy, one Origin form we haven't seen, and I guess a Magikarp as well. So yeah, and Nidhaden's gonna take game 2. We're going to game 3.
Yeah. And finally, Pokemon Communication shows up and clutches the game.
Yeah, it does clutch the game. That is for sure. Um, Interesting. But okay, so we're gonna let them get into game 3 here. Fantastic match by both players, I think, that time. Really just kind of shows though, like when you naturally are hitting for 140 and you can consistently hit for 140, it could be stronger than a card that with the correct supporter and with the correct Pokemon on your bench can hit for 140. That
Yeah,
sounds like a really long way to put it, but let's see.
So now game 3, and again, Eric is going second. So Eric has been pretty lucky so far.
Yes, that he has. And we're starting Origin Form Palkia again on Nidhaden's side. Both sides with, I would say, less than optimal starts.
Yeah, this is, I think, this was exactly how the last game started. Arceus EX, Origin from Palkia, and Eric going second. So pretty reminiscent of the last game. Let's see if it turns out with the same outcome.
Let's find out. Energy onto Arceus, so we don't have a Dialga. Because at least last game we got to put 2 energies on Dialga.
Yeah, and now you're stuck with Arceus EX, which is by no means bad because you could just pressure the like attacking for 70 plus is pretty strong, especially if you go over 110, in which case you can one shot Origin from Palkia.
Yeah.
So now will Nidaiden be finally able to do the early leaf into Manaphy play?
Let's see,
how it goes.
Pokeball. That could be a Manaphy, that could be a Magikarp, or another Origin Form Palkia. Can we leaf back to a Manaphy? That'd be great, like you're saying.
Yeah.
What is
It
it,
doesn't
Nidaiden? What did you draw?
It doesn't seem to be obvious to play. Probably some hesitation on the supporter to use. So
Yeah,
another Pokeball
a
into
Pokeball.
okay, and another Pokeball as well. So at least 2 basic Pokemon. So that means at least 1 Manaphy or Magikarp. And
Yep,
yes,
and
that's
it's
a
a
Magikarp.
Magikarp. I'm assuming the other one then was an Origin Form Palkia that's in his hand.
Yeah, most likely, most likely.
Uh,
So it seems to be also a very weak start from Eric, but at
yeah.
least on the next turn, he will be able to attack for at least 70, and perhaps he's holding up to 3 bench Pokemon. And if he does, he will be able to one-shot Origin Form Palkia.
Yeah, even if he only has 2 and a Giovanni, we could still see a knockout here. Um, I think Eric is
And I
showing us
can't
his
help,
hand, but I feel bad commenting on it.
and, yeah, and I can't help but notice that a lot of these players, like so far, these players have kept absurdly bloated hands. And
Yeah.
because we in public decklist and none of these players run Mars, but when the ranked mode hits next week, actually, uh, you won't know I presume the decklist will be public before you play against the opponent. And then there is a risk in holding that many cards
Oh,
in
yeah.
hand because you could be met with a Mars or even a red card.
Yeah, if we had
So
Mars or red card or the question of it, we'd be having to discard cards left and right. Like this Mew wouldn't have stayed in hand. Some of these supporters we'd have played early just to thin I would say call it thinning your hand, but it's kind of thinning
Yeah,
your deck in the case of a shuffle card. And so it looks like we're gonna do a helmet. We can only swing though for 90 this turn
yes,
or 100.
seemingly. Well, 100. That's just one bench Pokemon short of one-shotting the origin from Palkia, and by taking the damage from a helmet, you're I mean, even like this, you're already at the range of Gyarados EX because you don't play a giant. You've got a Rocky helmet and not a giant cape equipped to Arceus EX, but surely it doesn't help in this situation. And as you can see, just like we've seen in a previous game from Nidaiden, just naturally ramping into Gyarados EX is often enough to win the game. You don't even have to have mana fee to accelerate.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here wondering, like, should we have used Giovanni that turn? We're gonna sure knock it out this turn. We couldn't have knocked out last turn. It's not like they have Mars in their hand or something like that we're afraid. I feel like I'd want to have saved it, but maybe I'm just the silly caster who doesn't know where. I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't even think we have a Pokemon that could swing for 20 here versus 30, obviously, with that Dalga.
Yeah, and like if you knock out Origin from Palkia and they bring Gyarados EX to the active spot, uh, you it's hard to find a convincing answer to it. Oh, okay,
We're
okay.
leaping back to Mew.
Eric is playing the long game, leaving Arceus EX out of harm's way. Let's remind that Nidaiden doesn't play any Cyrus or Sabrina, so
Yeah, so we're safe on the bench.
I assume now Eric is hoping for charging Mew EX up to the point of being able to use genome hacking. But then it's a guaranteed KO on Origin from Palkia, but then you get knockout in retaliation by Gyarados EX if it's in the end, and that's pretty precarious position.
Yeah, very precarious. On one hand, you're giving almost basically extra turns for Hayden to find that Gyarados, and on the other hand, you're protecting against him finding the Gyarados this turn. What do you do? I mean, Magikarp's up. It sounds like he's got the Gyarados, and yeah, that's. I think Hayden's going to the finals. But maybe I'm speaking too soon.
It's not that clear in the sense that Rampaging Whirlpool doesn't
Oh yeah, we
knock
don't
out.
one shot here. We don't one shot here. I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell you there.
so I think they had to go aggro because in the long run, getting to genome hacking to use Rampaging Whirlpool against Gyarados EX is pretty bad. So they had to do this, but this is not the ideal situation for Nidaiden.
Oh, we just got 2 more basics, so that's good at least.
Oh and this is yeah. Uh, it remains still precarious because you cannot use Leave to retreat. So you would have to discard an energy from UEX, and if you do that, Arceus EX attacks, but gets knockout, and you cannot use genome hacking in response to knock out Gyarados EX.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's like X speed would have gone a long way here, but unfortunately, UEX is kind of left to itself. So what possibility? And Eric is just running one giant cape and it's on Mew EX.
Yeah, it's just on the Mew EX. Now, I did protect against not getting knocked out. This Mew is kind of safe for a turn here. Not turn here, but there's no Sabrina or
Cyrus to pull
it up. So it's like, it's okay sitting on the bench.
Like if there was a second giant cape, an interesting play would be from like you bring Dialga EX, and then it powers up the other Arceus EX to which you attach a giant cape, so that you don't get one shot by Gyarados EX Rampaging Whirlpool.
Oh, Giovanni.
Oh, okay. Giovanni is really making a number on all these games.
Yeah, and since there's not a second giant cape, every single one of Eric's Pokemon goes down to Gyarados attack now.
Yeah, this is. I don't think there's a way out of here. Or perhaps by stalling for time. But even then, there is no one shot against. Okay, so out of desperation, Eric just passed their turn, and this confirms Nidaiden into the finals.
Yep,
With
that
Gyarados.
does. Oh my gosh, it's been a while, I feel like, since we've had a Gyarados in the finals. But maybe was the first. It was either like the first of Triumphant Light or the first of. No. First of Triumphant Light was Rampardos. The first of SmackDown was two Gyarados. There we go. Because nobody was running Hitmonlees.
I remember as a winner of the biggest Pocket Weekly that you organize. I think his nickname is Lead. Won with Gyarados EX.
Yeah, he also won the largest, but I mean, like, I think the beginning of SmackDown, that was the last time Gyarados won.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just letting the other people know they can start when ready so that we can watch the other game in top 4. It's going to be channel 21.
Oh.
Wait, but he's not streaming. Wait. Please stream.
So another Darkrai EX against a technically bad matchup in Rampardos Lucario. So perhaps with like 6 Dialga EX deck in the top 8, we will end up with none in the finals.
That would be crazy. Yeah, it would be absolutely insane. But I'd love to see it happen. But it'll be crazy to see. Let's go to hop up at 21. Hopefully that'll remind them to turn it on. And if not, we'll use the Twitch channel. Deafen them. But fingers crossed. One second. Let's see here. Just waiting for them to turn on their stream here in this channel. I'm gonna check the Twitch channel because the other player is playing on Twitch. Here he is. Okay, you started a stream. Perfect. Well, get that up and going. Do.
And second semifinal.
Yep, this is going to be the second top 4 match. Really excited to get to watch it. It's going to be Rampardos versus Dialga. Some Arc players seem to know exactly what to do, I swear, versus this matchup, but I am not the one. But we'll have to see if you has the sauce or not. They've played against 2 Gallades, but not a single Rampardos. So.
Oh, whoa! So.
Who knows?
This might be this is a big test of waters, and in at the doors of the final. So kind of a big test of fire, and this is an unfortunate start in this situation with Shaymin in the active spot.
Yeah, I don't think this is what you wanted going first here, the Shaman. But Riolu could swing for 20 here. MSC obviously needs to set up their board a bit more. They want their fossil Pokemon. They'd love to get, just more cards in hand in general, even for evolutions coming up. And Skull Fossil does come down on their first turn.
So yeah, that's pretty big because the main problem with Rampardos decks is that you rely on a stage 1 that can be searched with Pokeball. So you have to draw specifically 2 cards in your deck. That's very hard. And having it on the first turn, that's a pretty big head start.
Agreed. Because now, anytime possible, Gyarados appears in your hand, it can be on the board. And you can't search for fossil cards.
And this is kind of funny to me that the board is Riolu in the active versus Shaymin in the active, but both of them deal the same amount of damage. And, like, no, if Royaloo is actually weaker because thanks to Rocky Helmet, he gets the same damage back to it. And thanks to Shiny Healing's ability, in the end, it only takes 10 damage. So, kind of a tricky situation, and this might be why MST is
time
close
is
to time limit.
okay. We do hit.
Yeah, okay, but we take 20, and next turn that these 20 damage become just 10.
Yeah, that's very, very true there. Only thing is we don't have grass energy, so Shaman can never attack. But that helmet's going to do all the work it needs to. Luckily enough, just like you're saying. But even then, if we have a Lucario next turn, it can still KO it.
Yeah, pretty scary perspective. But well, at least there will be the damage from a Rocky Helmet. And that way, it's also, ironically, it's an easier way to promote Dialga EX because you don't have to rely on Leaf.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Much easier way to promote if you think of it that way. But then only one Pokemon needs to get knocked out, and that's a scary fate to be up against.
Yeah.
I'm just checking the list here. This is a 2 Giovanni, 1 Sabrina list, so no Cyruses on use list. This is the same as the one who won 2 weeks ago, but the difference is that instead of 1 Cyrus, it's 1 Sabrina.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I always think like the choices between Sabrina and Cyrus, it's like, what made you choose that? Like, what happened in your testing? But
well, Sabrina has the advantage to more easily disrupt the tempo of the opponent. Cyrus, less. Cyrus is just to confirm a kill.
Yeah.
So, since there is no bench damager in Dialga Arceus, might be the correct call.
You'll have to see.
It seems to be paying off. So.
As the currently last Arc Dialga, I would agree. It could be paying off. But MST seems to be having another good thinking session here. I wonder if it's, do I attach to my Lucario? No, I mean, not Lucario. Do I attach to my Imparto? So I attach to my Marshadow. Looks like we're putting down a Sudowoodo actually with that. So there's even like a world where we could attach to Sudowoodo and retreated. But it seems like we're worried that something could get knocked out before our Marshadow's powered up.
And this is interesting because they decided not to attack with Riolu because it will put it down to 20, which if there was a leaf into Metallic Turbo would be an easy point given up. So a right call because this is effectively what happened. But since he did not attack into Rocky Helmet, Riolu will still be living. And I mean, Lucario can have a low health just as long as his power is up on the battlefield. It's enough to make it relevant.
Yeah, honestly, like as long as his ability is live, the Lucario is doing all the work he honestly needs to do. Rampardos is already down though. If Lucario, this Rampardos is in range of knocking out.
Yeah, everything on the battlefield. Everything, basically.
Not that you want to use it probably this early, but maybe you do. Who knows?
I mean, if there was a Lucario in his hand, it's a pretty convincing way to just get away with the game.
It looks like we're doing it. I'm assuming that means we have Lucario.
This might be a Lucario, and this
there
is.
There it is.
This is still a gamble because, like, Rampardos will take 50 damage in retaliation.
Yeah.
And Arceus, oh wait, but nah, never mind. Never mind. Because even like this, Marshadow deals 100 plus 20 because of the weakness of Arceus.
Yeah, we
plus
need
Lucario, so this is an exact one shot. So if there is no giant cape, I don't think there's a way out for
you. I completely agree. Yeah, we really need a cape.
Yeah, and you can only know what happens here. Marshadow with Revenge, dealing exactly 140. But even if there wasn't Lucario on the battlefield, or even if there was a Giant Cape, uh, like Sudowoodo would have just taken the place of Marshadow to finish the last point of damage. And this is why these all 1 point Pokemon deck are so strong, because it's very hard to trade favorably once they're online.
100%, 100%. Once they're online, what are you supposed to do, really? I mean, painful on you side here. But MST really showed the power of that Rampardos.
Yeah, like having Rampart also on curve really helps in making the deck successful. And I would be interested in if it was only possible. Perhaps it will be. We are working on that, but perhaps at 12 points it will be possible to track the game and see what's the win ratio of Rampardos, depending on whether it starts with Fossil in the first few turns or not. Because ultimately, Rampardos decided of the game in this situation by knocking out Dialga EX.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I like this start from ST with that Sudowoodo. You would obviously disagree with me, but let's see here. You is going first, so they don't get an inner hand attach or attach from the energy zone. MST though, entire board basically filled.
And this is the best cards you can fill it up with, like Riolu into Lucario to improve the damage output of your Pokemon, Fossil, and not to mention that again they went second, so they can attack right away. And we all know how getting first is bad for Dialga Arceus. So a pretty good, like a pretty good omen for MST.
100%, 100%. It looks like, I mean, and with Lucario down, healing's not going to matter either, especially this early in. Communication is going to be swapping. I'm assuming not a Marshadow, so it's probably like a Riolu or a Sudowoodo. I'm going to check MST's list real quick here.
Yeah, and I see a Hitmonchan in the list, and I wanted to keep it for when we actually see it. But this is certainly something that I want to see. Played, because this is not a common choice.
Oh, there you go.
It's here actually. So I'm very surprised about this choice. Of course, it gets powered up by Fighting Coach, but I assume the rationale is that it's with Lucario, it one-shots Manaphy, even without it two-shots Manaphy, and this is good enough of a play, I assume?
It looks like it's going to be nice. I mean, we're powering some over the bench, but this is going to be a knockout by MST, already up 2 points. And then, I mean, if you have Rampardos, game's just over here.
Yeah. Perhaps there was a consideration to this is dirty. Perhaps there's a consideration to equip the energy to Dialga EX, because it doesn't suffer from the fighting weakness.
Yeah.
And with Giant Cape, if you draw into Giant Cape, you can at least tank one hit from Rampardos. But since you don't, yeah, okay, that was a very quick semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic games by MST. There's not really much you can do as Arceus Doggo player all the time versus decks like that. It is going to be 2 Twitch streams, so we are going to have to get up a Twitch stream here. It's going to take an extra second to get ready. Do you have a preference on which POV we watch?
I think the decision are less Gyarados deck, but tell me what you think.
I'm going to watch Gyarados. I don't really know how this matchup is going to go. Obviously, like, it's a lot more aggro than Arceus Dialga. So we can see some really early damage into the Gyarados. Gyarados still has to get really built up. I'm not sure how it's going to go down. No Hitmonlee in MST's deck means, you know, a huge problem there as well. I'm down to watch the Twitch channel, the Gyarados one.
Or we could, like, I mean, we could alternate, like, game 1 Gyarados, game 2 Well, or perhaps it's too much to ask for the players.
I can try to do it. I can try to do it. Give me a second here. Let me just. I'm gonna run an ad before the finals real quick. So I'm just making sure the game ended. 1 second. Let me just. We're gonna run a really quick ad here during the finals.
Prize pool to the $400 prize pool, split in the top 16. Very, very helpful. There is a store in New Jersey, and they have everything you can get for Pokemon, including the some stuff that is set to release, such as the next Team Rocket extension in TCG. So very nostalgic stuff, and meta relevant as well. Very cool stuff that you can see on xpcollect.com for specifically American customers. Very good opportunities, and yeah, supporting them is also supporting the stream and supporting the growth of the community TCG Pocket tournaments.
For sure, yeah, it's really nice to support the. Sorry, I'm trying to make this ad run so it doesn't run during. It's really nice to help support the scene. Having sponsors is so great. I'm so appreciative that XP Collect has been supporting the competitive scene and our tournament as early as our first week. So they've been here the entire time the game has been officially released. So I'm really, really, really happy with them, and they are such an awesome group to work with. So if you guys are interested in, getting some of those cards, if you want some pre-orders or order current packs, if you need Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, any of the above, this is a great shop to order from. I would really love for you guys, if you guys could check out their website. So make sure to check out XP Collect if possible. That being said, we're going to get into here in 1 second. We're just making sure everyone is up and going. I'm going to send you both channels just so that we don't have to be jumping forth. And then, oh my god, I do this every time. MST's name is not MST. It's like TCG MST. I'm like, grr. But yeah, I'm going to send you both links. And we can try to hop between different channels. Only problem is going to be the names, but it'll be a fun experience. Bombo pushing me to be better and better every time. That's what you need from a friend and co-host. So, y'all can start when you are ready.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Nidaiden.
Yeah, we're gonna start with Nidaiden's point of view, and then we'll go to MST's point of view.
Yeah. I actually don't know how the matchup goes for this one. I assume I can find it pretty easily on Limitless with the amazing stats on matchups. Like Sudowoodo is a liability, that's for sure, because it doesn't even one shot Magikarp.
Yeah, that is a very great point. It is a bit it doesn't even one shot. Does it really not even one shot Magikarp? That's rough. I feel like so many times when I start him.
It's a 2 retreat cost. So if you open with Sudowoodo, you're pretty much in the losing position. Hitmonchan, however, might shine. It's of course expectedly worse than Hitmonlee in this matchup, but still, if Magikarp cannot leave the active spot for some reason, it helps. It's also a 2-shot against Manaphy, 1-shot with Lucario on the field. I'm curious to see how that goes. And this is in Hitmonchan in the active spot, actually.
Yeah, so Nidhaden starting with that Palkia origin form, MST with that Hitmonchan who can already swing for 30 as soon as next turn, but it does look like Nidhaden is going second, so they'll get that first energy.
And MST is it's his lucky day, seemingly, because he again starts with Fossil.
Yeah.
And the Riolu. And if he evolves into Lucario next turn, that's a 50 damage from Hitmonchan jab. Now, if the opener of Nidaiden was Manaphy, that would have been a one-shot. So, um, actually, uh, pretty good start from MST and interesting, like also a good start from Nidaiden, actually.
Yeah, it seems like we are just having we're using this Origin Form Palkia as a bit of a tank here. I'm not sure we're going to see the retreat just because if we do, it's just kind of like a waste energy. Uh, the Manaphy probably it's just going to get one shot. And then it's just like what attached to Manaphy, it attaches to Magikarp. But so in this case, I think it's just gonna be like that hand powering up that zone powering up that Magikarp because I need to do better on saying that instead of hand attaching. So let's see here. We already
Well,
have the
that
Gyarados.
That shiny is kind of deadly. Of course, we don't know if well, like whether Nidaiden has Leaf or not, but it entirely cancels possible Leaf plays into Manaphy because Manaphy will just get knocked out for the easy 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now it seems like Nidaiden is completely relying on bringing Gyarados EX on curve and rampage literally over the over MSC's field, but with all the damage output from like Marshadow, potentially the fossil evolving, potentially Lucario, that might be hard to fight for the Gyarados decks. That will be a lot of damage overall. Like yeah, Marshadow, Lucario. Hmm.
Yeah, it seems like there's gonna be a lot of potential damage output here into this Gyarados when it finally comes up. I think it's gonna be a race, right, between these really hard hitting Pokemon on the MST side, but not hard hitting enough to one shot, versus that really hard hitting Gyarados. Like if there's only one energy on that Marshadow and it gets popped off even by that Gyarados, and suddenly Marshadow can't swing an attack. I'm interested to see how MST deals with this energy potential deficit.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, and Origin Form Palkia will just be used as a sandbag and without even Rocky Helmet to chip damage while it does that. So I assume we'll see a knockout, then Gyarados EX, and then I think the fate of the game will rely kind of on Gyarados effect discarding an energy from Marshadow,
Yeah.
actually.
Much rather it go, I feel like, on the Lucario or itself. As in, like, if you want to pop Hitmonchan, if you want to pop Lucario, if you want to pop Gyarados. But you can see here, Nidhane's like, please, 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 Marshadow, Marshadow, Marshadow,
Yeah,
Marshadow. But let's
like
find out.
yeah, like if it does that, oh, unfortunately, it discards one of its own energy, and
Good for
like
MST, bad.
statistically, it was kind of bound to happen. But discarding an energy for Mashado would probably have closed the game entirely.
Yeah, that really would have, I feel like, finished off the game. Especially, I just realized there's no
Oh,
Cranidos yet.
yeah, but with Sudowoodo and Lucario,
Yeah.
that can be enough to like that's already only 60 damage, oh 60
Uh-oh.
HP, but oh 100 HP, and now there's no way out.
Yeah, now that
There's
they needed that
like
Cranidos, I feel like.
yeah, because like Rampaging Whirlpool will one shot anything on the next turn, and there is absolutely no way that MST can put up 100 damage on the field at this
Yeah.
stage of the game. So uh, yeah, so this is also why Gyarados is so powerful if you don't snipe Magikarp. Just charging it without even using Manaphy or Misty is just enough to win the game. You don't even have to be lucky on the discard energy part of the Rampaging Whirlpool attack. You
Yep.
just charge it naturally and it wins.
And there it goes. That's game one for Nidhaden.
Yeah.
Whew. I mean, I thought MST had it. Just like that, though, you miss your Cranidos. You can't find your Rampardos. What are you supposed to do? And I feel like this is a tell as old as Genetic Apex. Stage 2 Pokemon, sometimes they just don't show up. We are going to try to watch MST's point of view next. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna hide the screen for a second, just so that I can get it set up. Um, but let me just we over to him, and then we're gonna boop, 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 boop. Let's see. Let them get into their games here, or the fact they don't cover up their passwords. I'm like, bro, you're gonna get stream sniped one of these days. At least my viewers like to try to stream snipe me when I leave the password up. Maybe MST's not got that experience yet. MST's gonna be going first here. Oh, I probably shouldn't bring it up just yet. But I'll hide it again. But starting again with the Hitmonchan.
Yeah. So starting first is good when you can have Lucario online on turn 2. So it doesn't seem like it's going that way, but perhaps this Pokeball might find a Riolu, and it does. And I mean Riolu, Hitmonchan, that's a guaranteed 50 damage on next turn, which is a knockout on Manaphy.
Yeah, that's so nice. Even if Manaphy tries to heal here. I mean, Nidhaden better find another basic, because this could be a problem again if he doesn't.
Yeah, and another perfect opening sort of by TCG, MST, with Fossil again and Riolu. So with a Lucario next turn, if Nidaiden doesn't find a Giant Cape for Manaphy, it could be an easy point to grab, and puts him far ahead of the competition that early in the game.
Yeah, really interesting to see what they're deciding to do here. Uh, ugh.
And this is an unusual Pokemon communication that early in the game. I assume uh, Nidaiden is fishing very, very hard for Magikarp.
They find it, it
Uh,
looks like.
yeah, and because like we've seen how dominant Gyarados EX was in the previous match, because basically only Rampados can match up to
Ooh.
Gyarados EX, and it's harder to come online.
Yeah, I wonder if we have Cranidos here, but I mean, Hitmonchan's ready to swing into Manaphy. I guess we don't need it this
Oh,
turn, but we'll need it next turn.
that was a super lucky draw by MST, finding the Lucario for the exact one shot against Manaphy. And like if Manaphy has lived an extra turn, that would have been a very difficult game for MST to come back. But now that he one shot it on turn 3 on curve, there's a lot of pressure on Nidaiden to find its cards.
Yeah. Ooh, and we find Cranidos this time. I think it's our time. If we need to find Marshadow too, and we're like sitting pretty, there's Marshadow that was sitting in hand. It can get half powered up here. And Gyarados is. I mean, we have to take a couple turns to knock out this Palkia, but I think we're
Yeah,
do
I,
well.
it doesn't get better than that. You've got a strong attacker in Hitmonchan. You've got Cranidos potentially ready to evolve into Rampados as soon as MST can find it. You've got Lucario to power up the team, and Marshadow to revenge knockout. Uh, I think you can dream of a better field in MST's position. And this time, an Irida wouldn't be able to save Nidaiden, especially with Rampados on the field.
Mm-hmm. Completely agreed. Uh, yeah, we get another 50 swing. I mean, not doing much worse than, not doing much better than this right now.
Yeah, like the only hazard at this point is Gyarados EX rampaging Whirlpool discarding an energy in the team, but by attaching a second energy to Marshadow, you kind of prevent that from happening. Uh,
100%.
so so what's the next play?
Looks like we're in attack into. Oh, I should have updated points here. Oops, daisy. Attack in with this Gyarados. I almost feel like it's a little early, but that's okay. We can still run away later. We take first point as Nidhaden now.
There was a line where if Rampaging Whirlpool discarded an energy from Marshadow, no, not even.
No, not this
Because
time. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
There's both of our our draw guys. Not draw. What is that word? Gust guys.
yeah. Um, well, it doesn't matter too much because I think in MST situation, you would rather fish for the kill on Gyarados EX and Revenge dealing 120, courtesy of Lucario being on the bench. And Nidaiden doesn't play any Gust effect, so there's not there's not many way out of this.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think Nidhaden can do anything right now.
Yeah,
We could run away, but
there is Rampados in the backline, and even if you discard the energy like it happened, it just requires one energy to attack. So this is gonna be MST's game, thanks to Rampados attacks only costing one. And this is game 3. From which perspective do we want to see the game 3?
that's up to you. What point of view would you like to see? Because now we're 1-1 in the finals. We can do either. Do you want to go back to Gyarados? Do you want to stay here?
Well, this is too complicated of a choice.
Should we go back?
I assume the easiest answer is to remain on the MST stream.
They're both equally easy. They're both equally easy. I just have them in a tab and I'm clicking back and forth.
So well, we can just get back to the first one then, just to bounce.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Popping it up. I even got the names both done. Easiest thing in my life.
And Nidaiden is going second again, which is of course very favorable to a deck playing Manaphy. But at the same time, every time MST went first, he opened up with Hitmonchan, a Fossil, and a Riolu that evolved into Lucario on turn 3 on both games. And it might happen for the third time in a row.
Yeah, this is crazy. We got 2 Pokeballs. I mean, this is the one turn you wish you wish you were going second, right? Just so you could immediately KO this Magikarp. But research as well for MST, Riolu, like you mentioned.
And he opened pretty much the best opening you can get. 2 Pokeballs to fill your deck, and Professor's Research to draw Evolution on top of that. MST has been kind of lucky with these starts. And yeah, Riolu threatens 50 damage jab on the next turn. So
no
pretty
Fossil,
crazy,
though, only note.
No Fossil this time.
But Nidhaden does have a Pokeball.
Yep. But now what do you do?
Yeah, another Pokeball. I got Magikarp. Manaphy Magikarp, but Lucario still spells the end for a Manaphy.
And this is complicated because you can't just leap out Magikarp to bring Manaphy to the front line, because if MST has Lucario, Manaphy is toast and it won't even have attack to power up the team. So playing Origin Form Palkia and Manaphy, you can expect Magikarp to leap out for Origin Form Palkia, but this is another case. I think Nidaiden hasn't been very lucky with these starts. He rarely opened Manaphy.
Yeah, very, very true. He really hasn't been. Hitmonchan could just KO this Manaphy, though, this turn. Another research comes down. Lucario, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it.
Yeah. Like he thinned his deck as much as you could in TCG Pocket.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, pretty crazy stuff, and it seems like the Spanish community isn't too happy with it. But at the same time, using Pokemon communication, was MST fishing for specifically the Lucario? It's very possible.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, it looks like no Lucario potentially. Absolutely
Oh
insane.
wow.
We dug so far into our deck, and we're only gonna get the Jack for
Yeah,
30. Ugh.
and so what Nidaiden does on the previous one was a complete gamble, and it paid off since
Mm-hmm.
MST didn't have Lucario despite being super far into his deck. So, um, well, uh, luck smiles to people who abuse it, and Nidaiden had it despite MST's luck on drawing all the Pokeballs and all the Professor's Oak research.
100%. We're gonna get to do some energy here. One to the Origin Form
Oh wow.
Palkia, one to the Gyarados, but unless I mean, it's
And
not
this
like
is gonna
it's.
be sorry.
You're good.
Oh, I mean, this is going to be very hard to come back. There's still no fossil on, like, there's no fossil, there's no Lucario. Okay, there's one, but a turn too late. Well, um, yeah, there's no fossil to contest Gyarados EX, so I, okay, Marshadow can help in dealing with Gyarados EX, actually.
Let's see. Yeah, Marchand will be nice with Gyarados EX. Obviously, we're gonna take out and finally knock out that mana fee here. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Come on. What is this? MST's thinking hard this time.
Yeah, it's like, of course, you knock out the Manaphy because you can't let another turn of energy acceleration
For
happen, but
sure. For sure.
the the follow-up is more complicated on Nidaiden's side. What do you bring on front?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, obviously we bring up that Origin Form Palkia, it looks like, but
Um, I like he just here to take hits and he just trades for her points. Um, I mean, I assume the idea is that you leave it for just even one turn and then you bring Gyarados CX. You just don't want to expose the Gyarados CX to superfluous damages.
mm-hmm.
This could be problematic uh, if MST plays Sabrina, and I think he plays one. So because damaging Gyarados at this point of the game would be like, yeah, okay, and this actually happens because you deal 50 on Gyarados, yes, it's down to 130. And then
Yeah.
Marshadow attacks for 120 and perhaps even more. Is as a Lucario, it's actually a one-shot against Gyarados EX.
Yeah, Sega
So
Lucario is crazy here. Brings in the
Nida has to be very
Gyarados.
careful, and I don't think you can take down Hitmonchan if you don't have an Irida in your hand because
Mm-hmm.
you're possibly looking at a one shot
There's
from.
Irida.
Oh, okay, there's a Irida. Yeah, it was necessary because. But yes, this Sabrina was
Oh.
a pretty big play actually.
Yeah, we need the energy to pop off the. Oh, and it doesn't. The Mars Shadow, because now we can set up one of those Zacarios to follow up as well, because Nidhaiden's only taking their first point right now.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we're gonna, this next turn, the energy needs to pop off of,
And the second Lucario, which means I
uh-oh.
think yeah, Gyarados EX is has just like 30 HP left after this assault,
Yeah,
and
pseudo.
uh, and we know that MST is running Cyrus, so
Mm-hmm.
like there is not that many cards left in MST's deck. It's very likely that there's Cyrus, and then Pseudo Udo deals 50 damage to Gyarados EX, so there's no way he can escape, and Oh, it seems that Rampaging Whirlpool discarded an energy from Origin Form Palkia, so you can't even think of shenanigans such as
Oh
Leaf into
no.
Origin Form Palkia, charging for 2 turns, so it can attack on its own. I think it's very dire for Nidaiden.
Yeah, I think Nidhaven's lost here. I mean, MST won potentially. We're retreating back, but I don't think it's really gonna stalling. I don't think it's gonna help here. So I feel like there's a chance that did we finish this off without even finding a fossil this time on MST's side? Absolutely insane.
Yeah. This is a takeaway of okay. This is over.
Yeah, and for everyone's understanding, there's only one Irida in the list. There is no second Irida in the list either.
Yeah.
But
This is over. So
this is done. And just like that, MST takes the week. The final round tournament of Earth's Home Pocket Weekly of the of oh my god word of Triumphant Light goes to MST. Absolutely insane. So awesome to see him win that game. Kind of crazy to see Gyarados in the finals as well. I had so much fun today getting to cast this tournament. And thank you so much, Bombo, for coming on. Once again, I do want to give a huge shout out to my co-caster here, Bombo. He is a very cherished member of our community. I'm so happy we could have him on. He runs PokemonZone.com. If you guys want to check it out, you can check out any card. They data mine the cards as quickly as possible as well if you need to check those. And they just have so much competitive knowledge there, collecting knowledge, how to start new accounts and things like that. And so if you guys ever need any type of Pokemon Pocket information that you can't get from a streamer, definitely check out that PokemonZone.com. I do want to give huge shout out to MST. Fantastically played by him. He played that deck absolutely to the T. It was a master class, and I'm so happy that he was able to get that. Also, huge shout out to Nidhaven for getting that second place, and to all of our players who played in today's top 64. Thank you so much to all of them who streamed their games. Is there anything you would like to say, Bombo?
thanks, thanks to you for organizing this amazing tournament series, the most popular of TCG Pocket community tournaments. Thanks to XP Collect for the sponsorship. Like, if we count the edition, they've given more than $8,000 in pricing, which is completely crazy for a grassroots tournament. And shout out to the viewers and to everybody that helps the Pokemon TCG Pocket community. We're getting an exciting next week with a new set and the ranked mode, and perhaps it will create even more vocation among players to join community tournaments after they reach the final rank, which will likely be called Master Ball ranked.
I heard,
So
yeah.
very interesting perspective. Perhaps might wanna interest you in some new beta feature on Pokemon Zone that might be released soon. You've seen some screenshots. Do you wanna experiment it live on your stream?
I'd love to on ranked one of these times. So, or whenever it comes out. Whenever it comes out, I'm definitely gonna experiment. Maybe we'll look at it sometime this week as well, assuming that means that I get beta access. Assuming I get, you can't see, but I'm doing the shy finger pointing. But I would love to check out some, and we'll be so happy to get to show some of those things on stream later this week. It'll be so much fun. Thank you again for being here. I do want to give a huge shout out to all of our viewers as well. We are so cherished to have, a fantastic community member like Bombo for running everything, but also our sponsor, XP Collect, who is a card shop of New Jersey. If you need any type of card needs, not only Pokemon, but Lorcana, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, ones like that, I would 100% recommend you guys check them out. They are really great. They, as you said, I guess I didn't even realize upwards of $8,000 over the last 21 weeks for these prize pools. So we are so appreciative of them. They really went out on a limb and took a bet on our competitive scene for putting up those prize pools for since the week 1 of this game even coming out. So huge shout out to XP Collect. Please make sure to check them out if you guys can. We are so happy that we have them. Also huge shout out to all of our viewers. Wouldn't be able to have a sponsor like XP Collect if not for our viewership. So thank you guys so much for watching every single weekend. and being here. We also do want to give a huge shout out to our players. Again, we are one of the largest, most competitive Pokemon Pocket tournaments every single weekend because of our fantastic player and competitive scene who wants to play. Make sure you go and sign up for next week. It's going to be the first week live of our new set, that name I forgot of, but it's going to be so great to see some, first glances at what the format is going to look like. Absolutely fantastic commentary from Bombo, so thank you so much again for being here. I do also want to give a huge shout out to our judges. We would not be able to cast and broadcast this tournament without the help of our judges. They put so much time in every single week without even the chance of getting part of that prize pool, and we really, really are so proud that we have such a fantastic judging group like them. Also, a huge shout out to our mods who help us and make sure that our tournament chats are fairly in line and good, though we do understand that these tournaments can be really exciting to people. So people can get a little bit out of hand sometimes, but it is, in my opinion, as long as it's staying in the, excitement for the competitive scene, it's a good thing. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. We are going to go on and raid MST. I'm going to point around here so I know when I start saying that on stream, because I really hate this 1 minute delay. I can never figure it out. So sooner or later, I'm going to have these pointy fingers, and it's going to mean that I'm raiding. That being said, if you like Pokemon Pocket content, I stream Pokemon Pocket content about 7 days of the week. I'll also be starting up YouTube this week again, Instagram, and we have a really fun Twitter that you guys can check out. So make sure that you do check them out if you can. And we also have a really awesome and active competitive scene and community in general in our Discord. We'd love for you guys to join us there.